should work. Just trying to go live.
Okay.
I have a bunch of blank VMs, but
Yeah, we're live.
yeah, cool. We're like they want us to go over something. We could go over something. Should be fine. Let me just share this link real quick. Share it in the other Discord. Anyone that wants to join. Okay, I did it. The automation did it for me automatically. I posted twice by accident because the damn bot did it for me. All right, there we go.
All right, I think we're good now.
All right. Doing well, Mohammed, doing well. So before we invite people and start doing training, just wait for it to fill up a little more. I also want to do like some updates on my Discord, like what we've been doing, what we've been up to. I also want to do talk about like what I'm working on for the next couple of weeks. And then if you guys don't know, like next year I'm doing a Udemy course for IT support. So it's going to be a combination of CompTIA A+ and also some IT support training on Active Directory, Office 365, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm trying to get put together because I wanted to make it like a combination of help desk, service desk, tech support, IT support with cloud and AWS and Azure. So that's something that I want to do like next year. So we'll see how that goes. Besides that, I just like, oh, everyone's having a good day. So Kev.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Someone's like saying, oh, you got a tech off shirt.
Yeah.
Are we doing training?
When at one time we went to the museum.
Yeah. Someone's asking are we doing tech training in January? Probably. Who knows? I mean, we do training all the time on Discord, so it's just, it's just not like we hang out, but we also like it's like so Discord is more like it's like I say like it's more like free spirited because we do things on the fly, on Discord. Sometimes we just do live training for no reason. So it's just that's why I tell people to go to Discord because sometimes we do live training and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just something that happens. We're just hanging out, talking. Somebody asks a question, we answer it. So feel free to swing by and be in there.
Yep. All right, so we got like 20 people here. All right, cool. All right, so this is Kev's a wizard, right? So this is what we did on the Discord. So I'll show you real quick. Me share screen one. You guys can see my screen, right? Hopefully. All right, so I've been working on this with Kev, and we actually got it to work, which is kind of cool. So Kev, is this every 5 p.m. Monday through Friday?
Yeah. So
help desk job.
So essentially, I have a cron job in my Linux server, which every single day from Monday through Friday at 1700 or 5 p.m. it's going to run this script, which essentially goes to link to Indeed, searches for keywords for help desk, desktop support, any kind of entry-level job for IT in all of the United States. It grabs the top between 10 and 50 posts. It's supposed to be 50, but right now it's only pulling 10 for some reason. And essentially, it makes a request to Discord and sends these embedded links so that you can click on them anytime, every single day at 5 p.m.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Was it hard to create that, or was it?
So for me, I have a lot of experience in programming. So I did this on, what was it, Wednesday night? It was when you asked me to start working on it.
Yeah.
And I did it in like 3-4 hours, but I have a lot of experience doing programming. So, but it wasn't difficult in general. Like the concept, anybody can do it. And it's a cool little project, even if you want to do something similar to what I did and try to do it on your own, you can get it done. It would probably take you a little bit longer if you've never done stuff like this before, but it can be done.
I guess we might have to make a separate channel here, probably for the UK, London, or like Europe in general. So I'm just looking at that. I'm like, we should probably make one for the UK, London area, or just Ireland, all the European areas.
And
Since
the cool thing about that is that would only mean modifying the script slightly, because I only have to search. If we're still searching through Indeed, I can just add a new parameter that I can modify, so that I don't have to completely rewrite everything and then only change one link. Doesn't make sense. I can just make it so that it can be adaptable to different countries and different channel webhooks, which is how how Discord receives the information.
got it. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because we've been working on this thing.
And you can.
Mhm.
Oh, no.
No, go ahead. What happened?
I was going to say you can click on the link as well up top, and that's the code for the bot on the description, all the way at the top of the channel.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
GitHub /KevRocks Indeed Helpdesk. Scrape. Okay. Oh, interesting. So if I click on that, what happens?
That's the code for the bot. If anybody wants to look at it and play around with it.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So you see it's written in Python.
Yeah. Very interesting.
I'm gonna go back to the scrape.py. Yeah, that's the code right there. If anybody wants to contribute to it, this is open source. So as well, if you have some changes, maybe you have something that looks better, you can make a pull request as well. And if it's good enough, maybe I'll even accept it and we can add it into the bot and you can contribute to the Discord that way.
That's pretty cool. You know what's funny, Kev? Like I work with like IT analysts and I do like IT support and some sysadmin stuff now. Like this looks like English to me now. Like before, I didn't understand what the hell this was. Like I look at it and I'm like, what is this? Right? Because you don't do coding, right? I don't do coding. So before I didn't understand this. Now I understand it now, which is kind of weird. It feels weird to me, like I understand I understand what it's doing now versus what it wasn't doing before because of PowerShell, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing PowerShell now in my job. So I actually understand what's going on here versus like how it was before. Where it looks like a bunch of blob for me. So.
And that's the great thing about programming. If you learn one language, doesn't matter if it's PowerShell, Bash, Python, C, doesn't matter. They're all the same thing. The logic is all the same. They have different syntax, the different words that you use and different styles of programming. But at the end of the day, programming is programming. It's just logic. So anybody can read any code. You might not be able to 100% understand every single thing, but you can get the idea of what it's doing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I understand this is entry level. Yep. And it says one right there. And it says full-time jobs. And it says limit of 50. I know you were trying to get it to work with 50 jobs, right? Yeah. So this makes more sense to me now. Like if I look at this before, right? I was like, what is this? Right. But now it actually makes perfect sense to me, which is kind of scary because like I used to be afraid of coding because why? Because like some people, we have this misconception, right? Of that you have to be good at math, right? To know coding. So I used to be afraid of coding. I used to be like, oh man, this is too complicated for me. But now I understand how to do it now. When it's going to be very interesting for me because I am going to include like PowerShell in my course for next year. So I actually look forward to that. It's going to be very interesting. This is kind of cool though. I'm surprised you got it. And it looks like a bunch of nonsense, right? from on that screen. But then when you go to the actual Discord, it makes sense. Like you actually see how it reflects over here and posts it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And anybody can contribute to it. I put on GitHub purposefully because, somebody has a better idea. Maybe somebody can make it a little bit, maybe scrape for different kinds of jobs or make it a little bit more flexible if anybody wants. And if I see your code and I like it, I might add it into my code as well and merge it in. That's the whole idea of open source is community collaboration and effort. And also just if you just want to download it and play around with it, you can do that easily.
Yeah, I tell everyone that if you come to my Discord, guys, like don't forget to go to README for access and checkmark here, the checkmark right here, because this is an automation bot that I have on Discord. If you don't checkmark this, then you cannot see any of my channels on Discord. It's just something that we created for security reasons because I don't want people randomly going into Discord and just typing whatever they want. So if you come to my Discord, click on README access, and then check mark, hit the thumbs up, and then it'll make you a member of my Discord. So how do you know you're a member? You're actually red. So if you're red, that means you're a member. If you're not red, you have no color at all, then that means you're not a member. You have to be a member to see all my Discord tabs here. So some of these you can't see, by the way. Like, for example, see, this is interns 1, interns 2, interns 3, interns 4. You won't be able to see that if you're a red member, because this is only for interns. So if you're part of my internship, then you could see these channels. We probably can't see these channels if you were just a regular member. And one cool thing about this that I learned from Kev is that you could go into server settings, right? You go into roles, and then you could go in here, right? And then there's these different roles right here, and then you could do view role as, right? And then you could view the role as a specific person. So if I were to click, for example, member, right? You see how it changes it, right? You can't see certain channels. Certain channels are missing now because you're viewing it as a member. I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that on Discord. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. So that's something that I was looking at. Kev was showing me these different things, right? And then if you go here, and if you uncheck it, this is basically what you'll see if you don't have anything. Basically, you see absolutely nothing. Basically.
And this stuff is useful because a lot of companies will use Slack or Teams, but there's some companies, there's not a lot, there's some companies that will use Discord actually because they like it better, you know? There's not a lot of them, but they do exist out there. So you never know, but maybe you have to manage some Discord server as part of your IT job. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you have you know what's cool about this too is that if you know how to do this, you could add it as relevant tech experience on your resume.
Yeah.
If people don't look at it like that, but you can.
And like I never used Slack before I got to my current job, but because I use Discord, Slack was really easy to pick up because it's basically the same thing. So even if like you're like, oh well, I don't really want to use Discord, it's good if you've never used like Slack or Teams or anything like that because a lot of those other tools are based on what Discord is. So it's all very similar, and you can adapt to it when you get to the workplace because you're gonna have to adapt to it.
Yep.
Like at my company, we barely use email to communicate to each other. We usually use Slack. And I know, Kev, you were telling me you guys are similar, right?
Yeah, so we use Slack, and I'm an admin of Slack. So I create private channels. I give you access to a specific channel. You may ask me like, I want this to be read only, that anyone on my team could read it and see it. It's when you think about a Slack and Discord, right? Think about NTFS. Like security permissions. It's exactly the same thing. Do you want to give them read only? Do you want to give them write only? Do you want to give them only access to a specific channel? Do you want to block certain things that they can't react to the channel? Like, you put like emojis. Do you want them to send attachments? You could block attachments. There's certain things you could do on Discord. Same with Slack. It's just like, think of it as NTFS, like, like Windows permissioning security. It's just almost the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, almost the same exact. It's just a different naming convention, but it's the same thing. So.
Rel 2 Soy asks, Selenium or Beautiful Soup? I use Beautiful Soup. You can see right. I put the link in the comment above yours. When I responded to Muhammad Islam, that's the link to the bot, and you can look at the code.
And I'm gonna invite you guys to come in to chat with me. If you guys want to come in and chat on Zoom, just have a conversation with me and Kev about IT. It be IT. It could be I need career advice. It could be I want you to talk about a certain topic or a certain thing that you feel uncomfortable with, that you're like, man, I don't understand this. Like, I gone over this 100 times. I don't understand this. So I'm gonna just invite you. Just come talk. Don't be scared. All right. So I'm gonna put the Zoom chat invite. Come join. It's in there. It's live. You're live with me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Don't be afraid to talk with us. We're here. We'll stay here for about an hour or so, and then we'll call it a day after that. But I want you guys to come in and engage with us and talk to us. Like, I'm not gonna bite. I'm not gonna bite your head off.
We're normal people.
We're normal people. We're not robots. So just come by and have a conversation with us. Come by Zoom. I just said it. I'm gonna put it one more time. Actually, 2 more times. So come on Zoom and chat with us live. Let's have a conversation.
So while people join, I guess I'll give a small explanation of how I get the data from my computer to Discord. So Discord, when you create a channel, there's this concept that you can create called a webhook. So what's a webhook? Essentially, normally there's an API for on a server, and when that API that program is a programming interface, so you make some kind of HTTP request to the server, and the server sends you data back. So, for example, if I go to google.com, it's going to send me back that HTML code back to my computer, so my browser and the browser will display it. Right? We all know about this stuff at this point, especially if you watch Kevtech's videos. A webhook is the opposite of that. Instead of the server sending me information, I'm sending the server information using the same kind of request. So in my case for this bot, I'm sending what's known as a post request, which is a type of HTTP request, and I'm sending a JSON formatted data, which Discord knows how to interpret to make it look nice and pretty the way it looks in the boxes where Kev was showing it. And when Discord receives that information, it automatically puts it in the channel. That's essentially how I get the information from my computer up to Discord. And it doesn't require any authentication or anything like that. It's pretty open, so you got to be careful with those links, because if you send that link to a random person, they can just spam your channels with random stuff. But that's how it works.
Makes sense. Someone was asking, what resources are used to build your fundamentals for programming?
I started learning programming in high school in class to learn like the fundamentals. When we were there, we learned very basic logic using things like WebTurtle, Scratch. These are, you can find these online. You can Google them online. But I kind of learned just the logic of programming, like how to put blocks together, so to make logical statements. So if this happens, then this happens. Else, do something else. How do loops work? Things like that. What is a variable? And after I learned from there, I at some point throughout my learning career, I guess, I started learning Python because I had a specific project in mind. And once I started learning that, I watched a bunch of videos, kind of got more into the syntax and learning things, and I just went from there, building and building and building, learning different things, new things, and algorithms and data structures. And yeah, it's a long journey. It's going to take time, but anybody can learn it.
How are you guys doing? How you doing, Kumar? Hi, Steven.
All right.
So
Hello. How are you guys doing?
good.
Hello, Kumar. How are you?
Kumar, how you doing, man? What's up? I don't know if you have us muted, but let's see here. How's your week, Steven?
It was good. Had off Thursday and Friday, so not too bad.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was there. Thank God it's over. On to the next horrible one. You know the deal.
Yeah. Someone was asking Scratch and WebTurtle.
Yeah, so that's just what I learned, because it's easy, like, especially as a younger person, to teach those kinds of things. It's drag and drop, right? Like, for example, WebTurtle, I don't know if you ever use, like, I think it was in the DOS computers, they used to have, I think that's what it was. So you can literally say forward 20 pixels, turn left 90 degrees, forward 20 pixels, turn left 90 degrees, and do that 3 times. Hey, you just drew a box. So it's that simple logic of, hey, one step follows the next step, follows the next step. And that kind of teaches you how to think like a programmer. Scratch is more of like a kid's educational tool where you kind of do drag and drop programming. So instead of writing code, because you don't know how to write the code, right? You don't know the syntax of the language. You just drag these big blocks of logic and can build little games essentially, and move these things around the screen using like just your mouse. You don't have to type anything really. And you kind of get the little just the logic again of programming out of there. And from there you can move on to real programming language, or you can skip all that initial steps and just go straight to real programming language. It doesn't really matter. That's just how I was taught because that's like how the education system for children is, essentially. Children, young adults, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, the way I learn is by physically doing it. So like my brain has a funny way of working. Like I cannot read a book, right? Like you throw a book at me, I'm gonna look at you like you're crazy. I'm like, I can't. I'm not gonna spend time here and just read a book because I'm not into books. I find it extremely boring. So the only way I learn is by physically doing it. That's why I talk about VMware or VirtualBox and just do the lab, right? And physically actually do it because it's muscle memory. So when you actually do it, it actually makes sense. And then when you actually do it too, like Kev, like when we went over, and Steve, when Ryan was here, right? And then we went over certain thing, you're like, that's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Like that's all it was. Like this isn't that hard. Once you actually see it versus talking about it, because it's like complicated. When people make it very complicated, right? A topic, super complicated, right? And then you go ahead and actually see it. You're like, oh wow, that's it. Like I thought this would be much harder, but it's not. You just have to physically look at it and do it, and then it makes sense to you. And actually, like you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. Like
I can't tell you how many times at my job where my manager is, because right, I'm new, so there's still things that I need to learn. So my manager will sometimes walk me through a process that's specific to the company, how they do things. And there's been many times where I say, wait, that's it? Because it looks so complicated when you read the ticket, and then you go and then you get taught how to do it. And you're like, oh, I can do that. It's easy. Like things sometimes are deceptive. And just real quick, Mohammed also asked, should I have complementary knowledge of math for programming? You can. It'll be helpful, especially if you get into more deep, like real programming, like into the software engineering world. So like learning data structures and algorithms, you want at least a basic knowledge of algebra, just to kind of understand certain things, logarithms, things like that. But it's nothing you can't learn right when you need it to learn. You don't have to learn it directly right now, but it can be helpful at times, especially like, right, if you want to make a game, you're going to need to know math. There's no getting around that. Physics, math, they coexist.
Yeah, I'm doing something like that now. I got to put a password or a service account into something called CyberArk, and they keep on sending me the directions on how to do it, and it's not clicking in my head. I never seen it done. I never seen anybody do it before. I'm more of a visual guy than learning it from just reading something, like you said, So it's like, can you guys show me once how to do this? Now, it's something that we never did. And it's very convoluted how I'm reading this, and I'm reaching back out to the guys like, what do you do? Like, how do you even start this? And my managers are like, well, we don't do this. But this group that's trying to do this project wants us to do this in something called the Citadel, like they call it. And they call it like the actual Citadel project, where they're taking service accounts and they're trying to migrate them up to CyberArk to make them password protected, more security conscious. Well, I never done it before. So we have these old service accounts at work, which the guys are asking me, hey, you need to put this up in the CyberArk. I'm like, okay, they send me the directions, but I'm like, how do I get started? And even the guys that I call on the phone, they never did it either. They just sent me the instructions. So I'm like, can you get somebody to talk to me that even done it before? Because right now I'm just totally lost. And I'm being honest with them. I never did it before. And I should just email out to my boss and like, what are you supposed to do with this? I'm like, exactly. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I need to see it done first with somebody who's done it or some kind of video. And then it kind of like registers a little better, especially.
Yeah. With me, it's the same way. Like someone had me, it's Steve, you know what I mean, right? The intranet, right? When you think about intranet. So that's like the in-house website of the company, right? So they wanted me to upload someone's profile picture. But the way you do it in our company, right? You have to upload it on SharePoint, which is on a server. So I have to remote in to the server with a service account, log in with the password, upload it on SharePoint. It's like this crappy ghetto looking IE web browser, right? So you go in there, you click on it, you log in with the user credentials, right? You look for the person because it's folder redirection with SharePoint, right? So it's like / domain name / SharePoint / their username, right? So I click on the user, I go in there, I grab the photo, I make sure that I see $, right? I see $, to the server, right? I copy and paste the photo and I throw it in there into the server. Then after that, I just upload it and I have to wait 24 hours. And once you upload it, right, then it gets reflected on Slack, Workday. We use Workday, right? Workday, Outlook, and everything else in the company. So, and I didn't know how to do that. It's just like, like they have a KB on it and I'm reading the KB and I'm following instructions. Like these instructions are kind of outdated. You know that, right? Like, Kev, can you update it for us? Yeah, I'll update it for you guys. So then I had to go back. I had to update the KB. and I had to connect to this janky looking ghetto. I don't know, like it's just the website. The browser is like pterodactyl instinct. It's like really old. It's extremely old, and I'm over here trying to upload the users or the client's profile picture so it could reflect on the internet and all these other things. And I mean, I got it to work, but the thing is I was very outdated. I had to work with the sysadmin team just to get everything up to date. This is like, what is this? It's pretty funny actually, but that's how it is, man. That's how it is. Sometimes you have to really you have to really like look at the KB and try to follow it. And sometimes what happens in a job environment, they give you slightly outdated KBs that are not helpful at all. Like really not helpful at all. You have to like guess it and figure it out on your own, right? And be like, oh, okay, so I guess this is what they want me to do. I don't know. Let's see if it works. Oh, it works. It's just like you start clicking on stuff and it works.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, a lot of our KBs are really out of date from the old regime that was in there, and they're not getting updated. I mean, these things are like 4 years old, and they just don't apply. So when you go in there, it's like, oh, they changed that. Oh, they changed this. Yeah, no, the KBs are out of date. I make some tweaks to them, but a lot of these things I'm reading, I'm like, okay, especially if they put names in there, like contacts.
Mhm.
These guys are already gone. It's like,
anymore,
can't get in contact with so-and-so anymore, or whatever is gone. And who do you go to? And then everybody's like, I have no idea. We used to go to him or she, gone. It's kind of like, then you're just dangling out in the wind. Then you got to go, to the service desk and, see if they have any kind of alternative ways of doing it. KBs are nice, but when they get outdated, I mean, they're only nice. Maybe they're only updated like once a year, if that, but once they get outdated, and especially if you have a regime change, we have like an MSP walking in to the old people, people that were there, these things can get outdated really quick because there's a lot of changes being made and it's not really being reflected.
Steve, what about when they say go get manager approval and the manager no longer exists in the company? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They go get a manager approval.
Like approvals.
And then that person doesn't exist. Like, so who am I supposed to ask for approval? But that person doesn't work in the company anymore.
Exactly.
That's happened to me. It's just like, come on, man, really?
Exactly.
I was working on a project and the guy had left the company. I was really considering reaching out to him on LinkedIn to figure things out. I had to completely reverse engineer everything that happened there, and I got figured it out. It's all good now, but it's rough sometimes when things are out of date and people leave. And yeah. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good.
You wanted to hop in and have a conversation?
I just like what you guys talking about. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we're into we used to go live like almost every week. What was it, every week, Kev? Steve?
Yeah,
a lot, like last year.
Yeah.
And then we stopped doing it because we've been busy. Like we're all busy, right? We have like our schedule. But then I'm like, let me go live again. So we started going live again. And typically, like I have, you could ask Steve and Kev, like I have an unorthodox way of teaching. So like basically I just randomly invite someone to come in and I'm like, okay, let's go over this real quick. So we do that sometimes with people. So it's just, but today we're not doing that. But if you want to learn about something, we'll definitely talk about it. But typically we just like to have our conversations here about, because I try to be realistic as possible, because too many people give out false information, and then when you go to an actual job, it's not what you expect it to be. So that's just how it is in IT. But yeah.
So Gary, tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I worked overseas for like 10 years as an IT guy, and then I work for MSP now, actually, managed service provider. That's awesome if you work for those, because the government, I worked for the DoD before. The government, it goes so slow, right? Like, oh yeah, we'll take care of it, and then they never do it. Oh, we got to get this approval, whatever. MSP's like, just take care of it. Okay, make it happen. You're very independent. So you have to think for yourself, right? Which I love. And then you're the one responsible for getting it done. your leadership gives you guidelines and you take care of it, which I love, versus holding your hand in the government. But they're good and bad and both, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, whatever you want to know, let me know, or ask me any question, I'll tell you. So
Now I come from an MSP background as well. I work for an MSP right now, so it's pretty cool because you get to touch everything, and there's no like I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to do this. It gets done right away. So that's why I like MSPs as well. It's just like, and you're learning a lot. Like I spoke about this last week. Like I was in an IDF room, and I was installing a Cisco Meraki switch router, and I was installing a bunch. I even went to a ladder, and I put an access point like all the way up to the ladder, and then the manager's like looking at me, and the manager's like, "So is that gonna work?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it." So like I got like a step ladder. I installed the access point, and the Wi-Fi was good there because the previous guy that did the job, he didn't do it correctly. So I got like really annoyed. So it's just, I'm like, come on, man, like you can't be leaving it like that, like the cables like hanging on the ceiling, right? Hanging out of the ceiling, and there's no access point there. I'm like, what the hell is this? So then I'm just, they send me to go over there to fix the problem, and I went over there and I set up a new switch and router, and I went and I set up the access points, and I actually like tugged the cables in on top of the access point, so that you don't see the cable dangling out on the ceiling, and I just put it back up there, and I'm like, there we go. And then we tested the Wi-Fi and it worked. I'm like, there we go, should be good. It's just like certain people, like it's just like I don't like micromanaging anyone. It's just that's not me. It's just, you should be doing your job correctly. I shouldn't have to go behind your back and fix the problem. And then there's all these SLA agreements, right? And then the manager gets in trouble, and then because the manager gets in trouble, I get in trouble. Like, yo, Kevin, so what happened here? I'm like, I didn't work there. Why are you asking me about it? All right, go fix it, Kevin. All right, go fix it. So
that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's the weekend and it's Friday, and server's offline or something, right? And you come in on Monday, let's say, right, or whatever, and maybe it didn't get taken care of or whatever. They're like, hey, we missed our SLA because the server was offline or something. Yeah, over the weekend. Maybe the customer unplugged it, or power outage, or whatever. Yeah, a little interesting fact about me, right? I used to be an introvert a long time ago, right? And I kind of sometimes in. So I've had to actually be an actor, basically. So it comes across as like a fire hose, right? But that's because I've trained myself, basically, and became more confident in my skill set and what I do and my value, right? Basically, for example, right? When I was a help desk person a while back, I never thought, okay, I'm going to go and apply as sysadmin. I never went the next step, right? And get more money or whatever. I never thought about that. And then somebody just gave me an idea, like, hey, why don't you try being sysadmin? Okay. So I tried that and to get more confidence, and where I'm at now, it's kind of weird because like I don't know where to go now, basically, right? I don't necessarily want to be a project manager or whatever. And I don't think I know enough about like being what do you call it? A CTO, Chief Technology Officer. I have no idea, right? And excuse me, let me clear my throat. But so I don't know, right? On one hand, I'm looking at the money because it's one thing weird about me. On one hand, yeah, I want the money, but also at the same time, I don't want the headache.
Don't want the responsibility, yeah.
Yeah.
As you make more money, you get more responsibility. That's just how it is in IT land. If you're gonna get a higher position, you're gonna get more responsibility, and you may be forced to work on the weekend. You may be forced to pick up the phone at 1 a.m. You may be forced to pick up the phone at 2 a.m. What if a server goes down and you have to pick up the phone, right? And all that it's being realistic. Like the more money you make, the better. But then at the same time, you have all these other headaches that you have to deal with, and you probably won't be flexible anymore. You probably won't have time to be with your loved ones or be with yourself anymore because you're spending all this time and all these countless hours at work. So it's not even fun anymore because you're spending all these hours at work.
That's something that a lot of people neglect, right? The other morning, I was super tired. I didn't want to get up, but I had opened my eyes. It's already like 7 something a.m. And of course, I see the Slack notifications. I'm gonna check it, and the hypervisor went down. So now I don't want to get up, but I already saw it, so I gotta go contribute. So there's a lot of small things like that that you don't really think about, like when you get to a certain point, right? At some point, you don't get to say, well, I'll just let them handle it. I'll go back to sleep. No, you're the person, So it is what it is.
Someone was asking a question to Gary, I guess. How do you went from Helpdesk to sysadmin? Did you get any certs?
Okay, so I worked overseas in the Middle East, right? I started off as okay, let me start. So I worked in the satellite communication industry, basically. And then, so somebody told me, hey, you can go to India and get a certification, right? And then when you get a certification, you get more money, right? So I went to India. I went to Delhi to Koenig Solutions, KOE, and anyway, I went there and I took my Citrix certification, and I took a Microsoft certification. I took that anyway. So then I go, then I go back to the Middle East, and I'm like, okay, let me go back again. So this time I heard about this thing called a CCIE, Cisco certified, right?
CCIE.
Whatever. Now, mind you, I didn't have any experience in servers. I didn't have like the fundamentals you should have, right? Before you get into Cisco, because you have to know, well, in my view, you have to know Windows and all that stuff before you get into Cisco. Anyway, so I go to India. I lived in India for like 7 months, and I took the CCI training. I was just like too over my head. It was like $3,000 or whatever. So I learned CCNA, CCNP, CCI. I took my lab. I didn't pass it, of course, right? Whatever. But because I took the what is the thing called the pre-lab. This is before they have this. Now they have a lab that's like it's like pre-lab. When you go in for the lab now, there's like a bunch of pre-questions. Anyway, I'll get back to this. So how did I get back to Helpdesk? So I did get my CCNA, and then the company said, well, I applied to be a security guard, by the way, in the Middle East, right? Whatever. And they said, well, you have a CCNA. We'll bring you over as a system engineer, right? Whatever. Now, as you know, right, system engineers like this level, right? And I'm like here, right? Yeah. So I walked in, and I had been fooling around with Fedora, Linux a little bit, just kind of figuring out, and just, learning whatever I can. Anyway, so right then and there, I was like a system engineer level, like my title was, but my knowledge was way below Helpdesk. So I remember this vaguely. Jimmy Rucker, I asked Jimmy Rucker, said on the side, hey, how do you get in the server, right? Because he's like, oh yeah, you can get in the server. You could just whack into him. Like, what are you talking about, Jimmy? I have no idea what that means. And he's like, oh yeah, do / run / and you get into the server. Like, wow, I had no idea, right? So what I'm doing is I'm following around these individuals teaching me on how to do it, to be a help desk. And I'm just watching, and then I go home and I Googled a couple things and how do you do it. But it was always like I had a notebook, and I said, I don't know the answer to that question, right? And I went home and researched it, right? Because I don't want them thinking I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And so that's what I did. I just researched, and I'd always have a script to talk to people, right? So I was pretty good because I did call center work a while ago, a long time ago. So telemarketing or whatever. So I always had this, talk to the customer, and that I had that down. I had the soft skills down. That one I had down, no problem. Mm-hmm. I just didn't have the other skills. And so when I got a chance, I just sat back and I just absorbed and did it. So first thing I learned, Mike, was Active Directory. That's the first thing I learned. Then I learned about permissions. And then it was just a rinse and repeat, because everybody came in and they would say, like, here's my account's locked or whatever. That's the common thing. My account's locked. I can't get in. If I had to go like if the server lost trust, that was one thing I didn't really know. So Michael, of course, told me that, and Robert told me how to do these things. I would just go out in the field and learn. It's probably not the individual right now. That's probably not how they're going to learn, because I was in a different environment, because they gave me a lot of leeway to do it. Nowadays, it's not that much. Nowadays, somebody would probably have to do a work at, say, like an Amazon, like a fulfillment center, right? And then inside there apply to be an Amazon help desk or whatever, or maybe like Sitel is a good idea. Sitel is a company that it's work from home, do like tech support for like Cox or Charter or one of those, or Time Warner or whatever, where people call you and say, my internet's not working, blah, 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 right? Yell at you, right? So, okay, blah, blah. And then they train at the same time. So that's like, I think it's like $15 an hour start off. And then when you're there, then apply at other jobs, like help desk role. Okay, for certifications, right? What are certifications? So if you work for the DoD, you need a Security Plus. So Security Plus is CompTIA Security Plus. I forget the name of the Security Plus, but you can just Google it. The reason they need that, the DoD said you got to have it, whatever, right? I know personally like 50 people. I don't know 50 people. I know one person at least who they had a CCNA working in for the DoD, right? And they didn't have 8570, the Security Plus. The company said, get out. They gave them like 6 months to get a Security Plus. They said, you don't have it, get out. It's a true story, really happened. So that's the power, right? So what I say is this, right? This is your competition basically of help desk, right? Well, how do you get it to where you're in, you weed out your competition? So any certification you can get, 8570, if you can work for the DoD, start there. Because the DoD, I won't say they need to fill us. Sorry, what am I saying? They need to fill us. They need to fill a seat, right? Like, hey, I'm a company, whatever company XYZ. I don't want to name any companies, but I need to put a person in this seat because I need to get paid as a company. Period. Plain and simple. So if you get if you get a Security Plus, which people don't have, they're not going to get because they don't take the time, right? It's a hard cert, by the way. It's like $315 a take. So that's one, because they can always get you the clearance, right? Whatever. And they can always just train you. Hey, listen, I just need you to sit your
Reset a password.
blankety blank butt there, basically. So hopefully that answered the person's question. It's a long drawn out story, right? Little context for that. I could have just said, yes, you just need a, Microsoft cert or whatever and blah, blah, but doesn't really help anybody. Like, what does that mean? So that's my
for me it would be like look at your area and see what search they're asking for, because everywhere you live it's different. You could live in New York and they're asking for Microsoft certifications. You could live in another state, they're probably asking for AWS. I don't know. So like it's different everywhere you live. It's not the same everywhere you live. So and Kev was asking that. His name's Kevin too. Kev was asking that question. So like you have to look at your area and see what they're asking for, and then go based on that, and then build a home lab based on that, and then you learn those skills, right? And then you start from the bottom, right? And you work your way all the way to the top. You understand how that works, and then you start applying for jobs. That's how I look at it. So can't learn advanced stuff if you don't know the basics.
Absolutely.
Yep.
There's 4 Kevins in here, by the way.
Yeah, like a bunch of Kevins. Someone said, good long answer, Gary. And someone said, I love Gary.
Anyone here do IT documentation? Can you share a template or recommended sites? It just depends what you want to use, or like what your company is using right now. If your company already has a system, use that. If it doesn't, you can implement one. If maybe it costs money, you can just go ahead and use the Google Doc. Simple table of contents, page per answer KB, or just make like a header per whatever problem it is. Just don't make it super. You don't have to make it super complicated or fancy or anything. I mean, at my old job, I documented things I literally just had a PDF with like a bunch of, here's the problem, here's how you solve it. It doesn't have to be crazy.
Yeah, you could use a Word document, you could use Excel. Your job might have like Jira, right? They have Confluence. So you could go and do it on Confluence. They may have ServiceNow. ServiceNow has a Confluence page inside of ServiceNow. So it's just, if your company has a ticketing system, they have somewhere to document everything. And then some companies don't have absolutely nothing, and then you have to figure it out on the fly. So
always a fun time.
It is. Yep, fun times. This is checking.
Do you have any chances with just certifications and no experience?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have so we're gonna go back. It depends where you live because some places will ask for certifications where you live, but we have people that got jobs with no certs, like it's literally zero certs. They just do it at a home lab. They have a good resume and they apply for jobs, and they got a job. So it's just like very. My answer is always going to be like it depends because like everywhere's different. And I'm not going to give you. I can't tell you this is the exact way to get a job because I'm going to be full of crap if I tell you that because everywhere is different. Like, it's not one exact way.
Look at me and Kev. We don't really have degrees or certs like that. We have jobs, great jobs. So it's while other people have tons of degrees and they also have great jobs. Everybody's going to be different. Everywhere's going to be different.
Yeah, it's going to be different everywhere you go. And I'm not going to tell you, yeah, you need to have it. You need to have this to get a job. No, just the several ways to do it. It's just at the end. I tell people there's several ways to do it, right? But at the end of the day, we all end up in the same place.
Exactly.
It's done differently. Unorthodox, orthodox. I seen someone get a job. Like I said, I seen someone get a job. They got their CompTIA A+. They emailed the hiring manager his CompTIA A+ with his resume. He got a job. So there's certain ways to do it. Like some people are very unorthodox. Some people just like they get crazy and they email the hiring manager on LinkedIn and send them their resume. Please hire me. There's several ways to do it.
Yeah, that's another thing too, guys. With these certifications, they know then if you got like A+ or Network Plus or Security Plus or whatever, they know that you are capable of learning something. You are capable at absorbing information and also absorbing those basic skills at all too. So when you get your butt in that seat, they don't got to start from the ground one. Oh, this is a computer. This is how you turn it on. They can kind of start hitting you with a little bit more complicated stuff that they do, and hopefully you can absorb that information and put it to work for them, as far as what they do. I mean, so companies look at that too. I mean, they already know that you took the time to study, you took the time to learn those basic knowledge skills to pass those certifications. Because really the certifications, if you look at it, it's basic stuff. I mean, until you get into the job, that's when you deep dive.
No, Steve, I was gonna say something, and people may disagree with me on this. I was gonna say something that too many certs is a bad thing. So if you have too many certs, that's a bad thing on a resume. People ask me like, "What are you talking?" I could have 10 certs. It's good. I'm like, no. If you have too many certs, that means you're memorizing the answers to the question. That means you're cramming the shit out of that question, out of that test, and you're not even learning it. I seen people do that, and people are gonna get mad at me. I know people are gonna get mad at me, but you shouldn't be. There are people that they memorize the answers and they have like 10,000 certs, and that's not ideal.
People, and you guys think that if you guys have more certs, you may ask for more money. If the job's paying maybe $20 an hour, you may want $30 an hour. They're gonna say, get out of here. Now we're gonna hire this guy. Maybe he has like one darn cert and pay him 20 because that's what we can pay them. So your head may get too big having all these certs, which then brings it back down to earth with the pay scale again. And that pay scale goes to state by state by state by state. Okay, in New York, they're gonna make a whole bunch of money. Cost of living's huge. Pennsylvania, you're not gonna make that much money. Cost of living's average, and going out to the South or, the Midwest, you're not gonna make anything. But then again, the cost of living is like cheap, So you keep that in mind. It's all about location. It's like when you buy a house, location. Right? If it's out in the sticks, it may be cheaper. If it's out in the city, you're going to pay a lot of money, so.
I wanted to add to what Kev said about just memorizing for the certs. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't like school. Why I actually performed in some classes pretty poorly. So my last, class that I can use as an example about that is operating systems. I'm somebody who I wants to learn everything. I don't just want to pass a test. I don't care about a test. I don't care about a grade. I care about actually learning information because now I use that information for my job on the daily basis. When there's a problem, I go back to that knowledge and I use it at my job. So sometimes I would take my time going through these chapters and really try to digest all the information, really try to understand it and play with it and make examples and stuff like that. So, it's better to focus on the learning aspect and truly understanding what you're doing, truly understanding and capturing that knowledge rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to go for the cert. It's not about the cert. Like no one cares about the cert. That's for HR. That it's just a nice thing to have on your resume. Focus on learning what you need to learn from it.
Yeah, exactly. There's one thing is like I told you, there's one thing memorizing an exam and passing an exam, and another thing is actually understanding why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and how it's used in a job environment. So if you get a cert and you don't know how to translate that over to a job, then it's basically like the cert becomes pretty much useless at that point. Like, but the cert is what it's gonna help you too, because it's gonna like I said, like it's gonna depend where you live. It's gonna help you too, because sometimes you have companies that they have the ATS system, right? So you throw on your resume and your resume gets denied immediately because you don't have the A+. So that's the reason why I tell people go get the A+ and see what happens, because you may get a job because you have the A+. You may not get the job. You may still get a job without having it. So you want to take your chances, right? And at least get the A+, but also like learn the material and understand the material. It's like one thing is watching a video from Professor Messer, and then the other thing is actually doing it, right? And understanding it and why they're doing it and how it's done and how it's used in a job environment and why we do it in a job environment. And all these things get, you gotta understand it, because anyone could watch a video. Anyone. I could go here and sit here and teach you a bunch of stuff, but you don't understand what I'm doing. But what the hell? What the hell's Kevin doing over here? I don't understand this. It's not gonna do anything. You have to stick to it. It has to stick in your head. You have to understand what I'm doing and understand why I'm doing it. That's why I talk about the labs, talk about actually getting your hands dirty, right? And you actually do it. And then when you actually do it, oh man, I get this now. Oh, I understand this now. This makes more sense now. It's just tell people, just practice it.
With that same thing, and this might get some of you people here in the chat. You know how many people I've talked to? Okay, what's the port for SSH? Oh, 22. How do you use SSH? What is SSH? When would you use it? Can't answer it. Sure, you memorize the port. Cool. How does that help you? It's those kinds of small things which make a difference and will make you a better worker, a better employee, a better IT person. And it goes back to what Kev said, the lab.
Yeah, so the labs, and I don't know if Gary wants to say anything. I know Gary wants to say something. I know he wants to say something, but he's not going to say it.
Oh, okay. So, okay. For getting a job, right? Let's just say, right? I always, if I ever ask people ask a question, here's what I say. Your resume has your name, your phone number, email, done. And if you're overseas, let's say you're in India, I don't know, wherever country, right? And how do you get a job? How do you get more practice? Let's just say, right? You get a Google phone or whatever, and it's a stateside number. It's in San Jose, right? Because that's where a lot of those companies, those FANG companies, have the ability to hire people, right? From India, let's say, or wherever, right? And then you put an email address. You put it like, put Gmail or whatever, not like .in or whatever, India, the yahoo.in, don't put that. And then put your skill set. And if you don't have any skills, go to Udemy, right? Do like a couple courses. Seriously, do a couple courses, put that on there. Put your degree, right? Because if you're a foreigner getting a job in the States, you have to have a degree. That's just how it works because of how the system. But if you're an American, you don't have to worry about that because we don't need a degree. Whatever. I'll get back to that later. So anyway, so then you have your Udemy or whatever, then you have your course, then you have like your degree you're going to get, estimated whatever year. And then just start calling people. What you're after like, you're kind of getting training, right? Basically, because maybe English is not your first language, then you want to get practice in, because you don't want to be that person who does that 4-year degree, right? And then when it comes time, because you don't maybe have all the gadgets or whatever, your competition is say 100 people, let's say, right? And you're not going to get the job because those other 99 people have better connections or whatever. But if you have like the confidence and the ability to, I've already been through interviews, yeah, blah, 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 right? Then you're going to know what they're going to be, the questions they're going to ask. It's almost like, let's take it back to being an American, right? If you're American, do the same thing, right? Except this, go on many as interviews as possible. Don't go and interview if you live in Florida, right? Go and interview in Chicago or San Jose or whatever, right? And then what you do is you record if you can, because there's certain laws or whatever, right? Or just make notes. Better yet, make notes of what they're asking. Okay, they're asking for active directory. What is active directory? I don't know. And then you research and you find out how to do it. And what you're doing is you're building a list of skills that are needed. That way, when you go into your next interview, the company you want to get hired for, C-Mobile, let's say, they're out of Miami, Florida, whatever, right? You want to get hired there. Well, you already have all those skill sets. You have the confidence that you build up already to say, yeah, I'm good, and any questions they ask, you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. Because the other thing I'd say is you go on LinkedIn, you find out the recruiters themselves or the hiring manager who you're going to talk to, because like typically, right, if the hiring manager or the person that's doing an interview with you, if they have a lot of skill, they have a lot of jobs, right? Well, this is somebody who probably has the value of labs or learning, right? But if they have like one job and they have one job off their college and that's the same job you're applying for, they're going to ask you a lot. They're going to look at you to have a degree, right? That's what the code is, right? If you don't have a degree and they have a degree and they have been at one job, most likely they're going to talk to you, but you have to, when you talk to people, you have to read the floor too, right? So it's called mirroring, right? If they're talking high, fast, then you can talk fast. If they're talking like slow and low, here's the trick. You have a notebook with you and you just talk, your tone changes a little bit, and then you just reiterate their words a little bit. Maybe you just ponder, okay, because they may not want somebody high, right? They may want somebody like, calm it down a little bit, calm it down, right? Because you don't know the culture or you don't know the atmosphere, whatever, right? In the floor. So, because it could be like an area where there's a lot of programmers and maybe programmers are head down, or it could be an area where there's like a marketing firm where they talk about, right? That type of thing. So those are my 2 cents basically I put in there.
It's like that with certain companies. You got to get a feel for the company, because some companies are like, they see you and are like, I don't know about that guy. I don't know if I should hire him. I don't like his attitude. Just the way he rubs me the wrong way. It's just some managers are like that. So depends on the company. Yeah, it depends on the company. The companies they're very laid back. Maybe a little too laid back, or maybe a company that they're like strict, like military. I was like, what the hell is going on over here? It's just like depends on the company. But yeah, do your research. Maybe the company is slow pace. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's fast paced, like New York. We're fast paced over here in New York. Maybe it's extremely fast for some odd reason, and people are addicted to coffee. You don't know,
Yeah.
right?
I would like to add, if you speak a foreign language, like you speak more than one language, it's fine, right? Just understand that, look, the person you're talking to, most Americans only speak one language, English. That's it, done. So just understand that just because you don't speak, just because you can't speak English properly or whatever in your mind or whatever, whoever taught you that nonsense, you speak more than one. We don't, most Americans don't. So you have an advantage basically over that. So use that as your advantage, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, for instance, let me just throw this out again. I know, Kevin, if you don't mind me saying this, what you do, Kevin, is you're getting, because you have a YouTube channel, all that stuff, you can tell the employer, hey, I have a YouTube channel. I have X amount of subscribers. Validation. Wow. Awesome. Right. Because they can say, hey, you have a product, you have a service, and then people are coming to you and buying your product, or we're consuming, let's say. So that's instant. Gary Vee likes to say instant, marketplace. The marketplace says you've been validated, boom, 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 right? So you can use that as your, as validation that your skill
it's good and bad, because I had a bad relationship with hiring managers because of my channel. Just letting you know, just so you're aware. Because because they see my channel. Like, okay, so he just knows how to do help desk stuff. I'm being serious. That's exactly that's stuff what people say. So it's like that. It's like that with certain managers. They're like that. They're like, okay, so he just knows how to do that only. He doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to do this or that. And then they give you, they put they categorize you as something else. and they assume that you don't know how to do anything. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing and a bad thing. So
It's definitely great for networking, though. I will say that because you can. The thing is with your YouTube channel, as it grows, you get into some rooms with some people, which can get you some pretty interesting jobs, and that's pretty powerful. And that's not just you with your YouTube channel. Anybody here with growing their presence with LinkedIn, or just going out and doing meetups or anything like that, it can help you tremendously to get into the right room with the right people and talk with them. It's always great to talk to people and network. Get out of your comfort zone. No one's gonna yell at you're at an event. No one's gonna yell at you. Say, "Get away from me." Most of the time, like
I hope not.
Conversation, exactly. Yeah.
I hope not.
Don't come like a weirdo. Hey, I'm Kevin. No.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, so I mean, I always tell people like I try to connect as much as you can, especially on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is so big. Like there's so many things you could do on LinkedIn. Like I'll give you a real example. Like actually, I found a training platform on LinkedIn, like literally this week. And they emailed me and they're like, Kev, do you want to do IT training for next year for our platform? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll take it. So it's just part-time, right? So and that's because I'm always on LinkedIn. I'm always commenting on posts. I'm always interacting in posts. And I'm always seeing Kevin and Steven on posts. Like I'm all over the place. Like my LinkedIn I started with 50 followers on LinkedIn like last year, and now I have 8,000. So it's just like you have to be aggressive on LinkedIn. Like I was very aggressive. Like I'm actually like, okay, yeah. So let me this person's asking about Active Directory. Here, you watch my YouTube video. I have a video on it. Like let's go watch that video I'm on LinkedIn. Oh yeah. Like someone from Australia as a real life example yesterday. Someone from Australia, like, I'm working on this ticketing system, but you have to pay for it. I'm like, no, you don't. I made a video on Jira. Go look at Jira. Jira is absolutely free. You could get that for free online, and you could just create an account, log in, and learn about a ticketing system. And it's absolutely free. And if from Australia, Kev, I didn't know you could do that. So then people were like liking the living hell out of that post that I wrote because on LinkedIn, because I mentioned, again, I'm commenting, I'm communicating, I'm engaging with people, I'm interacting with people. I'm not scared. Like I see a post from someone and like, I need help with this. Oh, okay, let me just jump in and have a conversation with you and see what you need. So don't be afraid to talk to people on LinkedIn. It's going to make you better. And then when you make those useful posts, people want to add you. This guy actually has useful information. It's not just, he's not just full of crap, he has good information. So you want to make sure you engage on your LinkedIn. It's very important. Like people don't really, it's not Facebook. So don't use it as Facebook. Just remember that. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that as well. This LinkedIn is not Facebook. These are two different platforms. So you want to make sure you're putting like content that makes sense and that's tech related. So I don't know if Kevin wants to say anything.
I want to answer this question here. I agree with all those points, by the way. Exactly. That's pretty much exactly what I would say. But there's a question here about how do you level up from Helpdesk and what path do you suggest? So I'm going to answer this very short and succinctly. I can't even say it. You need to figure out what you like. Figure out what you want to do, and that will determine your path. We cannot answer that question for you because there's 20 million different paths you can take, 20 million different ways you can do it. There's no one way fits all. There's a million ways to get to Helpdesk. There's a million other places from Helpdesk which you can go towards. You get into networking, you get into security, and within networking and security, there's plenty of areas. There you can system administration, you can get into auditing, compliance, you can get into policy, right? Maybe you want to do like some kind of law thing. There's policies. There's so many millions of paths you can take in IT. You have to determine for yourself, and from there go look deeper and look at other channels. And as well, Kev has some videos from certain paths from other interviews and people that have come on the channel, and figure out what you want to do from there. But we can't answer specifically just say how do I go move up. You have to determine that. Maybe you need to get some search to do a certain thing. Maybe you need to get a degree in certain paths. Maybe you need to
just do it
in labs, but you have to figure it out.
Yeah, just do it. Like, okay, like because you say Helpdesk, right? You want to level up to something else, right? Like I'm not gonna grab I'm not gonna spoon feed you and give you a spoon like, all right, go apply for sysadmin. You're gonna love it. I don't know if you're gonna love it, right? Everyone has their own thing that they like, right? So you want to actually physically do it and see if you like it, in a lab environment, right? Maybe you get a trial of this, maybe you get Udemy course, maybe go to Pluralsight, maybe go and get something, right? And just look at it and see if you like it, because you may not like it. You may go into sysadmin like, damn, this job sucks, right? So you want to look at that and see if you like it or you don't like it. And then you go into network admin, you're like putting Cisco routers, right? And you're doing GS3, right? And you're doing all these things on the network. You're doing Cisco packet tracing. Like, and this is boring. Like, I'm not really into this, right? Then after that, right, you got cybersecurity, right? You have the red team, the blue team, you have the purple team. Maybe you're a SOC analyst. Maybe you're doing STIGs like Professional Black Ops, right? You're like, man, this is boring. I don't like this. So you got to figure out what you want to do. That's the way it is. I'm not gonna force you to do something that you're not gonna like. You gotta like what you do. If you don't like what you do, then it's pointless, right? It's just like you're gonna be miserable in IT, and then it becomes a chore, then versus something you like,
Yeah, you want to get into the medical field? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a surgeon? Do you want to be a nurse? Do you want to be a surgeon? What kind of surgeon? Do you want to be a neurosurgeon? Do you want to work on I don't know, bones? Like there's so many different paths. You just have to figure out for yourself. We can't tell you.
Yeah, you have to figure out what you like, because you may work help desk, right? Like Steven, right? Service desk, right? Steven works service desk, right? And you may get a good pay in that job, and that may be the best job you got in the whole world, because you have amazing coworkers, you have an amazing manager, and you have an amazing team, and you don't want to leave because you have everything is just there for you, right? So that's the thing I tell people, like, look at the company, look at the job. Maybe it's something that you just like doing, you love doing. Maybe it's a company that they just take care of you. You might want to stay there for another 10 years, 5 years. Maybe they're giving you pay raises every day, or maybe they're giving you all these other benefits like 401k, right? PTO or bonuses and raises. You don't know. So you want to look at all that, besides the work, right? You got to look at the compensation and the benefits and all this other stuff too. You don't want to just go into a place, right? You make a lot of money, and then the employees suck, and they're like Dracula, right? They're draining the energy out of you, right? And then basically you're miserable in that job because you have a bad team, you have a bad work environment, and you're stressed out. And basically, it's like I said, the Dracula is just draining all your energy out of you. You're just taking all the energy out of you. You're like, damn, this job sucks. And you go home and you're miserable the entire time. So you want to make sure you look at all that.
I can tell you it definitely makes a difference. I work with a great team, work with great people at a great company with a great culture, and it makes a difference. It makes your job way more fun. It makes you want to work. It makes you happier. So if you can find that place, do it. Go for it. Don't just stay at that spot with the Draculas, as Kev says.
Yeah, like you may it's a hit and miss, right? You may go to a job and it sucks, right? But then you go to the next job, and that job would be 2 times better than the first one, because you had such a horrible experience from that first job that anything could be better than that job, right? So you go to the new one, and, oh man, this is way better than my last job. So
yeah,
you want to make sure you're in a good company, that they're taking care of you. That obviously, like when it comes to going into a job, like you don't get fired. People leave their jobs because they're not happy, right? So if you're not happy, just leave your job. Just if it's not the company's not taking care of you, it doesn't make any sense. Just leave. Like, it's just like, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm not gonna BS you. Just leave if the company sucks. Doesn't make sense to stay if they're treating you like crap. Like I said, like if you're doing help desk and they're pounding the shit out of you and help desk, like they're making you move computers and doing all this other stuff, and they're just destroying you and your job, and you don't have that work-life balance, and they're just messing you up 100%. Just leave that job. Just don't stay there. Like, please don't stay there. You're gonna be miserable. So I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah, especially because it can affect your health. Your health is more important than the job. I know everybody has responsibilities, everybody has bills, but you're not going to pay bills if you're dead. Okay, so you got to figure it out.
Exactly. I don't know if Steve wants to say anything to that.
I agree with all your points. I think the best payment you get at work in IT is the satisfaction of the end user or the customer being happy with the job that you did to get them back up and working. To me, there's no other satisfaction in the world with that. I don't care how much you're getting paid. If you have somebody that responds back to you and says, hey, Steven did a really good job with me. He went above and beyond, just fixing my problem. He took care of some other issues, and he gave me a good kind of thing back to my boss. To me, that's more than any money can buy, because it knows that, you did your job well. You're doing something good for the people, and the people actually respect that. And you're going to have some idiots out there that don't like respect that, but a lot of people do. And at the end of the day, that's why we are all there. It's because these end users don't know what we know. We are supposed to take care of them. They just need to do their jobs. Remember, we can't do their jobs, but we can get them to do their jobs by doing our job to make that computer work the way it's supposed to. So I think at the end of the day, all the money in the world is great if you can get something fantastic, but being happy, getting that support back from the customer. I don't know what all you other guys think about this, but to me, that's like golden to me. I got something a couple weeks ago that was put out on the internal website, and everybody saw it, and my name was posted on there.
Mhm.
And he said I went above and beyond, and I was like, wow, okay. I kind of emailed that out to my bosses, and I got some really good kudos back from them. Hey, nice work, keep it up, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But that made me feel a little good that somebody took the time to write out something about it, because usually the IT is bottom of the rung, right? We're all like garbage until they actually need us, right? Like, oh, why are we paying you all this money for? You never do any darn thing until something breaks. Oh, is that why we're paying you guys? Oh, yes. I mean, we may sit around maybe for 5 hours a day and twiddle our thumbs and going, okay, everything's working great. We got to find stuff to do. Yeah, we're going to do. We're going to re-image machines. We're going to reorganize clean up until something breaks. I mean, I get that all the time at work. Why do we even pay you? When something breaks, I can fix it, or at least hope to find somebody that can fix it, or we can get it to a certain level. Oh, so I mean, I've been in this field now since 2010. So I just came up on my 10-year anniversary of being A+ and Network Plus certified through CompTIA. And still being before that, I was a printer, and I worked my butt off for 20 some years, killed myself, my body, knees, bending, moving, blah, blah, blah. It was just dreadful. The last 10 years, I mean, yeah, I don't work as physical much, but I tell you what, though, I mean, the last 10 years, I had most fun going to work in my life. It's not even really going to work. You go and you play with computers all day long, and they pay you for it. Think about that.
It's kind of crazy.
Where else in the world can you do that? Yeah, you can sit at home and play your computer, but they're not going to pay you. You go to work, you can play with computers all day long, and the time just flies. I don't know about you other guys, but the time you look up like, wow, it's new time already.
Yeah, with me, it's busy, man. I'm
Yeah.
always busy.
Which is good.
Mhm.
I mean, it's good though, but it's not like working. I mean, if you're stuck in a chair all day long, grinding at it, it's work. If you get up, move around, do other things, it just breaks up the day, and the days just fly by. Like this year just flew by. I can't believe it's freaking December.
Yo, yeah, this year, yeah. And then Cobra Kai's coming out.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry, no, that's not YouTube. That's not tech related. But Cobra Kai,
Yeah, but that's. I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't know, Gary. Have you worked really a day in your life since you got into IT? Really worked?
It's well, the benefit I had, I worked overseas, right? So that's like, you just look up and you're like, wow, I'm in Giza pyramids. Wow, or I'm in Paris, or I'm in Dubai, the Burj Al Arab or whatever. Like, oh my gosh, wow. For me, it's like an aha moment, right? So like that aha, like, when you have a problem and you can't figure out, like, why can I figure this out? And it's just like, oh, okay.
Flicks. Yeah.
And for a brief moment, right? You're like, yeah, I'm the king of the world, right?
Got that
Whatever,
right. Yep.
And then it goes down, right? But at that peak, it's like, wow. And then you realize, like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And the
okay.
next ticket comes in, you feel
Right.
like this. Like back there,
Yeah,
like, I don't know
right.
what to do with this one.
Yeah.
It's true. That's true. I mean, I'm sure everybody's experienced that.
Mhm.
Your coworkers have a ticket, right? And they can't find something or whatever, let's say. They can't do it or whatever, in Remedy or whatever, ServiceNow, whatever it is. And they can't find it, whatever that thing is. And you get it. And the first thing you do is you call the customer. Duh. Call the customer, because and then what happens is, like, like, it's almost like a competition, right? With between your coworkers. You're like, you guys couldn't figure it out. I did. I'm better. You know, seriously, really. It's
Yeah, no,
sort
it
of like
is, it is.
it's sort of like an ego boost, right? Basically, like you blah 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 couldn't figure it out. I did. You know, and you want to like say something to them, but you don't, right? You're like, okay, whatever. But the next time that issue comes, that customer's coming to you, like, oh yeah, you know, and then they invite you to lunch or whatever, free meal. Then, you know, lots of times like that, right? And then you're before or whatever, right? That type of thing. So that's an aha moment, like, yeah. Yeah, yeah. The other side, yeah, the other side is like, oh crap, I turned off the SA password. Like I changed the SA, this really happened. I changed the SA password on a SQL server like years ago, on a running SQL server, right? That's doing SharePoint, right? And that's in 2 countries. This is like 2010 or whatever. So it's like mirroring, and it's like, oh, I mean, it wasn't 2010, but the server was on 2010. And it's like, oh, the director's like, hey, you know, the SharePoint's offline, right? The corporate SharePoint. Oh, yeah, we had to stick it, you know, whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. And so the good out of that came was we had to P2V the SQL server and the SharePoint server because it was physical. We had to P2V it. So the good thing came out of it. But at that moment in time, like, oh crap, I did something bad.
Yeah, that's how it is in IT. Like sometimes you'll have your ups and downs. Like, and not every like, there's no such thing as a perfect job, by the way. Just if you say if unless you're CEO of the company. So there are ups and downs in IT. So you'll have your ups and downs. You have times where you work and you know, it's just like a really long day and you're moving PCs and you're moving 150 people, right? Maybe 50, maybe 60, and you're exhausted and you're doing overtime. Like, damn, this is a lot of work. But then when you get it done, man, it feels amazing. Like, damn, wow, we managed to do it. We got it done. I didn't think we were gonna get it done, but we got it done. And then you have a migration like that, and then you have the client or the user show up on Sunday because Monday, you know, obviously it's production, right? So you have them show up a day before, like Sunday, and they all log in, make sure the computers are all working, they're able to do their job. And then they leave half a day after that. And you're over here, you're here Friday, Saturday till 4 a.m, and then you come in on Sunday morning, making sure that their computers are up and live and working, the phones are up and live and working, and they're able to just do their job. And then you have to come in Monday morning and make sure they can all log in. And Monday morning, you show up super early because everyone's trying to log in and they're trying to get their stuff done. So, you know, they have days like that where the hours are extremely long. And then you have days like you go into a job and all you have is 3 tickets in the queue and that's it. And you're doing absolutely nothing. You're extremely bored and you're like, damn, I guess I'm going to go do some studying right now.
That's the warning part right there. Warning, right? If it's too quiet, warning. Hey, wait a minute. Is everything fine? You know, like everything working fine.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, like, because I had a meme I posted on my Discord, like if everything is working, it's too quiet. And it's a picture of Homer Simpson from The Simpsons. He's just staring at it with his eyes, looking around. It's too quiet. It's very quiet today. This is weird. This is strange. You know what's going on over here. But
I'll be wary of that.
yeah, and that's how it is in IT. Sometimes you have a slow day. Sometimes you have a busy day. Sometimes you have like a really long day. Like you may be expected to work long hours, right? And you're doing lots of overtime that 1 week, and then you don't want to see a computer for a day because it's a lot of work. So
interesting they should say that, right? There's a lot of people don't know this about IT. There's a lot of people in IT, they just go home and do nothing. They don't have a computer. Their work computers, that's it. Like seriously, people think like IT people go, and it's so weird because in IT, there's not many men of us. There's not very many, many of us in IT. So we're a small community, actually, to be honest with you. And just ask 10 people, right? Ask 10 people what Active Directory is. You're 9 out of 10 are like, what are you talking about? Really? Seriously. Yeah. This so there's a question in Tiffany Clark. She said she got a degree in web design and my school was no kind of help and nobody would hire me. And I ended up in a help desk computer desktop support. Oh, that's a good sign. But anyway, do you want to talk about that at all? Give advice? Anybody?
No, that's how when That's the one thing I like. I get annoyed by the educational system because they teach stuff that is not related to the job, or they teach stuff that's not IT related, and then when you go to the job market, you go to college, right? You go to school, and people are gonna hate me for this. You go to school, like you go to school, and you're like, damn, what the hell? My degree is a piece of paper, is a waste of time. Like, why did I get this degree if it did absolutely nothing for me? So it's not true. Like, if you have a degree, it's gonna help you if you want to get into management or something like that. You know, like more like advanced careers, and it does beat a certification sometimes when you have a degree when you're applying for jobs too. So like, I don't tell anyone not to go to school. Like if you have money, you could afford it, then you go to school. But the other thing is like you need to do your due diligence, right, and research, and look at the jobs online, look at things online, and just make sure that you're getting some sort of job experience when you're in school, when you're going to school, because when you get out of school, you have no job experience, and then people are like, I'm not gonna hire you. All you have is a degree. Why the hell should I hire you? All you have is a degree. You have no job experience. So I'm gonna get backlash from that, but I know people are like, you know.
The one
All
girl
right.
at work, yeah, the one girl at my work, she's going for this computer. She has a degree in computer science, and I was like, okay. And then she was going to school. Then she's going to a tech school up here. She was learning some other stuff in computers, and I threw at her what I do at work, and she's like, her eyes just like glazed over, like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm like, what about Active Directory? Do you know how to join like computers to the domain? Do you know how to re-image? Do you know how to do all this? She goes, no one's ever said anything about that. I'm like, well, that's what's going to get you the job. I don't know what the heck they're. And then she was spending like $20,000. Now, I wish I would have knew back in 2001 when I went to school, just got into computers, and I paid like $20,000. I first to that all this YouTube stuff was not happening back then. I would have never taken that route. But I mean, she wants to get into IT. I'm like, well, okay, what you're learning at this tech school. Now she's learning about Linux. I'm like, okay, so you want to become like a server? She goes, no, they're just teaching me it. I'm like, are you understanding it? No. I'm like, what about Windows? She goes, I understand Windows. I'm like, okay, so you might want to tell that school to go stick it up their butts, because really, you're not going to get a damn job in anything. I mean, if you're not absorbing Linux, I mean, and then you're not going to be working on servers or whatever you're going to be doing. I mean, what are you going to be doing with it? She goes, I don't know. They're just teaching us this. But I'm like, but what about Active Directory and all that stuff? No, that's not in the curriculum. We're not going to learn about that. People have said that the tech guys have said, the instructors have said, oh, they hinted around it. I'm like, why don't they teach you that stuff? That's what you're going to need to learn to get a job in what you want to do. She's like, well, they're not going to teach us anything like that. So
it might just be like, it depends on the type of program, because what they're trying to teach, it might just be like a network admin or something like that type of training school. But my opinion with school, I don't think school is worthless. The thing is, school, the problem with school, my problem with school isn't like school itself. Well, it is school itself, but it's the way it's done. But it's not like, I don't believe that it's supposed to teach you to get the job. I don't believe that's what college is for. College, like school, academia, that's for learning how to think, learning these theories, developing new things, being creative. In my opinion, school doesn't allow for that these days. I think that it's broken in that way. It's really just read this textbook. This is what the textbook says. That's the answer. Instead of let's teach you how to find these answers, right? But at the same time, there's a lot of information which can be useful, right? A lot of fundamental computers, especially at higher level jobs, I use a lot of my computer science knowledge a lot of the time to do certain things at my job. So it's not completely useless, but you have to understand that it's not going to get you the job. You have to hands-on skills and college are two different things. Technical training and college are two different things. College is not for getting a job. HR wants to tell you getting a degree is going to get you a job. That's not what it is. That's not what it's for. That's not what it was intended for. You need to learn on your own. You need to go to either study or lab and do all these things on the side as well, in addition to going to school, if you're going to go to school, if you want a job. The school is just a supplementary bit of knowledge to help you to understand these things further, right? So you can learn Active Directory, right? But how does Active Directory actually work? That's where the computer science background comes in. And
Yeah,
some
and-
schools won't teach you that. But it's
Mhm.
not like, oh, I'm gonna go to college and that's gonna teach me how to get a job. You're not gonna go to computer science program and say I'm gonna be a programmer without doing any other external work. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna learn programming concepts. That doesn't make you a programmer. It's two different things. Theory versus practice. You have to do things on the side as well as going to school if you're going to go to school. And what I say with going to school, can you afford it? Are you going to go into debt? Then don't go to. If you're going to go into debt, don't go to school, unless you really need that structure. Maybe you might need that structure because you don't know how to study on your own. You don't know how, like, you don't have the ability, the discipline to study on your own. You might need that guided structure, but you're gonna have to do something on the side as well. If you're gonna go into debt and it's like, let's say, I don't know, out of your pocket range, skip it, go with certifications. Simple as that. Don't make your life impossible when it doesn't have to be. There's other options. There's not just one path to life. There's different ways to get to where you want to be.
Exactly. That's the reason why I left college. I went to college. I didn't complete my college degree, and I went and I did the certifications, and I got my job in IT that way. So there's several ways to do it. It's just like, I'm not a fan of degrees. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, I believe in the educational system. I'm okay with the educational system, but I think it's broken. For me, I feel like it's extremely broken, very broken. For people that are trying to get into IT, it's extremely broken. Like, that's the only thing. That's the issue I have with the educational system. If I had to go back in time and do everything over again, I would probably skip college and do certifications. But for someone like me, like, I'm trying to change that. Like, so I started my YouTube channel. I'm trying to do like more hands-on training, more real life scenarios, more stuff that you'll see in the actual job market, because they don't teach you that in school. You go into a school and they don't teach you like Active Directory. They don't teach you Office 365. They don't teach you, oh, my account is locked out. How do I reset someone's password? Oh, how do you add someone to a security group? Oh, I have this weird error message on Outlook. How do you troubleshoot that? Oh, let's open it up in safe mode and see how to get into that. They don't teach that. Like, I wish a school, like not every school, I wish some schools would teach like those real life hands-on scenario things that you actually need to know if you're going for a job, because then when you go for a job, you actually can answer the questions, right? You actually know what to say. You actually know what to do. You actually know what you need to know to get to that job. So that's the thing with the educational system. For me, it's like, it's just broken. Like, I wish they need to redo that whole thing,
and Kev, I agree with you, but I think it's the thing of how these companies view it, right? You need a degree, right, to do this job. No. What you just described right there, that's a trade school. That's essentially what a trade school does or should be doing.
Yep.
But the thing is, you go to a trade school, that's not valuable, right? You have to go to a big college. That's what's pushed, the narrative that's pushed for IT, because that's what HR wants. HR wants to see the bachelor's degree when really IT is a trade. So I think it's between what the job market wants versus what's actually required to do the job. That's the thing, I think. Because I think if you want to do a degree, sure, fine, but you also need that technical learning. And if you can't do it yourself, you need to go to trade school or training like your training or something like that, which essentially is, again, the same thing. It's basically a trade school. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Learn those technical skills.
Yeah, and it drives me crazy. The educational system drives me nuts. Like, I get frustrated sometimes with the educational system, and I get frustrated too with job requirements. Let's not even talk about that. It's just like, you must have 10 years of job experience. It's entry level. Like, that really annoys the living hell out of me. So
and
it's just.
What Neil said, isn't your ceiling higher with a degree in terms of promotions? Yeah, sure, cool, but it's just the fact that you have it. It's not the content of it necessarily. The content of it can be useful, yes, but it's also content that you don't need to go to school to learn. You can learn that on your own as well.
Yeah, like some of the information that I when I went to, because I went to college. I mean, I didn't finish college. I went to college. Like, some of the information I learned, like some of the curriculums I learned, had nothing to do with IT. It's just like, okay, so I got to do sports. Like, why? Like, oh, I do drama class. Why? Like, what the hell does this have to do with IT? Like, why should I have to do this? Makes no sense at all. Like, give me stuff that's tech related, right? Stop giving me this nonsense that I have to fill a void just to get points for credit, for my degree. Give me stuff I actually is going to be useful for my life, for my job, It's just like things like that. It just annoys the living hell out of me, It's just, I get,
And sometimes too, people that have degrees are working at freaking McDonald's.
Oh yeah,
So,
I know
it's
a lot
truth, guys.
of countries overseas. They from their country, they go to some place and they work, and they have to have a degree to work at McDonald's. True story. You have to work. These are other countries, of course, but they have to have a degree to work at McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, true story.
having a degree does not always guarantee a job. It should. You pay a lot of money, it should. If someone takes a chance on you, but then you got to get the experience, too. So,
and I had people come to me like they get mad at me because you telling me I wasted my time in school. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. It's just there's more than one way to get into IT. You don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars in school. There's several ways to do it.
It's not that you wasted your time. It's that you learned skills. You learned knowledge, right? Knowledge doesn't translate to skills directly all the time. That's the thing. It's good to have knowledge. There's nothing wrong with that. I learned the knowledge through books before the teacher taught it to me, which is why I didn't stay in school, because I already read the books that the teacher was talking about. Doesn't make sense. But I had the knowledge, and on the side, I also learned the skills on my own. You need to have both. Whether you learn through school or you learn on your own, you need to have them both. But the thing is, you don't require school to get that knowledge. That's the thing. It's not that you wasted your time. It's just that's not going to get you the skills to get the job.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Yep.
It's hard for people to comprehend that, because it's like, you're like, well, what do you mean? Isn't it the same thing? It's not. You have to understand the separation.
I don't know if Gary wanted to say. I saw Gary wanted to say something.
Oh no, I couldn't agree more, because like it's true, right? So like all these rules in my opinion, all these rules we're talking about apply only to, they don't apply to necessarily the degree, right? Applies to like foreign people basically, right? Because unfortunately in their countries, India, I could name all of them, but most of them have to have a degree to get a job because the competition's so much, because of lack of jobs, whatever. But in America, we don't have a degree. And if you got a computer science degree, so I got a relative, right? They're taking computer science, and he took Java, right? And he's like, he goes, okay, now I'm done with Java, right? Whatever, freshman, I go, okay, so what's your GitHub site? I asked him, what's your GitHub site? He's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, if you need a job when you get out of, CS degree, computer science degree for a FANG company, FANG company, they're going to say, when you get an interview, they're going to okay, tell me about algorithms. Okay, they're going to know a little bit about that, right? But do you have portfolio? Portfolio. Do you have a GitHub
project?
Yeah. And they're like, what is that? Like, dude, what are you doing? Right? Don't they teach you this stuff in college? Right? Yeah. So case in point, right? There's a guy I know. True story. He has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, right? From a foreign country. He comes to the States, right? And he's working in a company. And it's a company that he needs to climb up on a pole to do electrical work. So he quit. He didn't, because he's afraid of heights or whatever, right? So he works at Walmart, whatever, right? And then, so recently, like in June, I asked him, he goes, how you doing? Right? I'm good. And I go, because he was taking his CCNA, right? He's got a CCNA. He has a CCNA, right? And now he says, well, I need another certification to get a job. I said, like, who are you listening to, right? I thought to myself, like, some of this has to be on the person itself, right? Like, who are you believing? Who are you believing? Like, why are you thinking this way? But anyway, like, they're just going to care. It's like a carrot and stick, right? I'm going to carrot and stick you till you have a degree or you have a certification and you get the cert, right? Like, no, you need a CCNP. No, you need a AWS cert or whatever. So yeah.
No, I was gonna say thank you, Black Heights, for donation. Appreciate it. Salute to you. Someone else was saying, Yeah, I had someone like that actually, Gary. I had someone like that. I'm like, who are you listening to on like I never talk about that on YouTube. Who are you listening to? Yeah, yeah, Kev. So I have A plus network plus, A plus network plus, and I haven't fixed my resume yet. I haven't done home labs yet. I think I'm gonna go and get CCNA, and I'm gonna get 3 other certifications. I'm like, apply for jobs. Why aren't you applying right now? What is wrong with you? You know, I get annoyed. What are you doing?
You know, the reason, so just to hit on that, right?
Yeah.
Because those people, right? Those people who take that, if they get the cert, right? They're going to take the very first job they get. You know, it's like entry level, right? Let's say $18 an hour with their cert. And maybe the market says you're worth 25, right? They're going to take the very first job they get and they're going to stay there for 3 years. Like, okay. And then 15 years later, you're going to see them as a help desk, right? Or whatever, unfortunately, you know, because you know these people, right? They've been there 15 years, like, oh, I'm just help desk or whatever.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
people like that they just they don't want to grow and they're
Yeah.
stuck. They're stuck
And-
in help desk, and then basically it's not help desk anymore. It's hell desk. You know.
The problem with that is
Help
they
desk.
don't teach the other people, right? The other people, they mentor people, they're mentoring them down to stay in that role. And basically what I'm saying is they're influencing other IT people, essentially. If they're help desk 15 years, then that person who's been just 3 years there or whatever, oh, that's my mark. That's my top off point, right? And I don't know.
It's not even that, Gary. You know what it is. You know what it is, right? You know what it is in IT.
Crabs
is
in a
that
bucket?
people get a job in help desk and then they get comfortable and they sit on it like, you know what, I don't think I should do anything anymore. Let me just stay in this job and just enjoy my salary and this amount of salary, and then you become obsolete, right? And then you're basically
Yes.
like you're
Yeah.
basically here when you're supposed to be up here, and you're not taking time to make yourself better. So then you actually get stuck in help desk because you're not doing things to make yourself better by getting certifications, by doing more home labs, by fixing your resume, by talking to job recruiters, by looking at the job market, seeing what you need to learn to advance your career. But instead, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay here in help desk, and I'm gonna enjoy my $18 an hour for 10 years and retire. You know, it's just shouldn't be that way.
I saw this one posting in the chat. It says, no degree, you'll be capped on salary, bro. All right. If you guys only knew what Kevtech makes really in life, you would probably fall over. Okay. So that is false.
Yeah, I was
It's not
going to
even
address
funny.
that as well.
And I'm sure Mr. Kevin Diaz can probably, chime in on that too. So that is, I think, is false statement there. Maybe depends where you live, but it's not really true, guys. I mean, the world has changed a little bit with this. I mean, depends what they're feeding you. Right? Are you going to take that little shiny that little cookie, or you're not going to take the cookie? I mean, you got to look of what, Kevtech is doing and everybody else is trying to feed into the channel and all that stuff. And trust me, you guys will get jobs. I mean, and, once you're in it, then you can go for what you want to go for. But I think that's a false statement. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Let me.
I was gonna say
20
too,
years ago, yes, not
I was
today.
gonna say too, Gary. Like one thing with people is that don't be scared to leave your job in help desk if you want to promote yourself and if you have to move up to another company. Don't be scared to leave. People are scared to leave their job because they think that it's gonna be bad on their resume when it's not. Like, you have to leave sometimes if you're not gonna get promoted. If not, you promote yourself. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at life. You got to promote yourself. People don't want to take a chance on you. So that's how it is. I'm being 100% honest with you. I'm just being like blunt and honest with you because people get mad at me when I'm direct with them. Like, the reason why you're stuck in that salary mark is because you don't want to get out of your comfort zone and go and find a better job. You have to do that sometimes. You can't get stuck in that job if they're not taking care of you. So
You need to move up.
you gotta move up, man.
To add to what Steven was saying, first of all, yeah, exactly. This isn't 20 years ago. There's plenty of jobs that will take you and pay you tons of money without a degree. That being said, sure, yeah, you can get a degree. You can. Some jobs make more money making a degree, but there's some jobs that will still pay you the exact same money without the degree. There's no hard requirement. Do this, don't do this. We're not saying that. We're just giving you options. These are things that you can do or can't do. That's it. To wrap up that point.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like there's
I
more
know
than
plenty of
like,
people making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hundreds.
yeah, yeah. People like because someone so Gary, someone wrote that you need to have a degree because otherwise you'll be bald, you'll be capped at a salary if you have no degree. It's not true.
No,
That's not true.
no, not true. No,
That's not true.
because you have you take your knowledge and you could create a course, you can create a channel, you can create passive income or whatever. You can watch Gary V and just listen to what Gary V tell me what to do, buddy, and just listen to what he has to say, and you could just blow up and make a bunch of money or not, whatever. And it doesn't matter what country you're from without a degree in that regard.
Yeah, and then if you know how to utilize your money correctly, which is not what the people, but not what they teach you in school, right? Obviously, the school's not going to teach you this. If you know how to use your money correctly, then I could go on another conversation, another tangent, right? With investment, with real estate, with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, all this other stuff. Like I'm not going to talk about that today, but if you know how to invest, if you know how to invest your money, then you're making money while you're sleeping. You just got to know how to do it. So that's another conversation for another day. But that's what I'm saying. There's more than one way to, it's not. The other thing too that I talk about is you should always have you should have more than one resource coming in for income, not just one. There should be several ways of you getting income from somewhere else, making investments. There's several ways to make investments. You don't know if you're gonna get let off your job. You get let off tomorrow, right? And what the hell are you gonna do?
Exactly.
So you gotta have investments. You gotta have real estate, right? Real estate. Maybe you rent an apartment. Maybe you make investments here and there. Maybe you buy a condo, right? You buy a duplex and you just rent it out, and you have all this money coming in while you're working in a job. You gotta have different sources of income, which they don't teach you that in school, by the way, unless you're going to like a real estate course or something like that. But
yeah, they never teach. Hey, Kevin, when you went to college, did they teach you how to become wealthy in college? They teach you how to get a job, basically.
No, I learned that on my own. So learned that always by experience. Learned that on my own. I've been working since I was 9, so I learned that stuff on my own. So it's just stuff that you learn is experience, right? So that's why I started my YouTube channel too, is because I don't want you guys going through hell like I did, with certain things. It's no bueno,
Yeah.
Is it safe to assume that when you create a YouTube channel, you did it because you forgot certain things and you're like, what? How did I do that? So you just watch your own video?
I don't do that. Actually, I don't do that.
I do.
That's funny.
I watch my own videos.
I don't do that. That's funny though.
I write blogs. I have in the past. I haven't had time for recently. And I've definitely 100% gone back and read those before. I have too much stuff to memorize.
I watch Steven's videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I watch Steven's videos. Steven's videos right here.
Group policy, was it?
Yeah, group policy. He made a video on roaming profiles.
Yeah.
On how to fix a profile if a profile gets corrupted.
Well, not a roaming one, how to fix a corrupted user profile.
And Steven has a video on it.
2 easy steps.
PowerShell.
Yes.
With PowerShell. He ran PowerShell commands.
Just 2.
Yeah, so.
I make it real easy.
And I watch Kev videos on Linux.
Yeah.
Just go up in there Linux. But like I said, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone and change jobs and stuff like that. 'Cause I talk to people that are still stuck in Helpdesk, by the way, and that drives me nuts. Like they've been in Helpdesk for 10 years and they've been in IT support for 10 years. And I'm like, I don't know about you, man. I don't know about you. I'm not going to be here moving computers for 20 years. I'm not doing that. If it's still around, I'm not going to be moving computers for 20 years or going underneath a desk and doing cables for 20 years. It's not, that's not ideal. I want to go into something better. You have to always look for something better. You can't be stuck forever in your job. It's not good for anyone. So, if Gary wants to say anything.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, those are the people. Just look at what are they doing, right? I mean, of course, look, all of us are talking here probably been in the industry 5+ years, right? So, but somebody new who's overwhelmed right already, right? You're like, okay, so just ask an IT person, and the thing is, as an IT person who's been in the industry like 5+ years, and you know if they've moved up, and then take a notebook, a pen, or whatever, or record and ask them, hey, listen, I'm getting into IT. What should I do? And push record on your phone, right, or whatever, or write notes. Just probably better just to record it because you're going to miss it, and just listen to what they have to say and let them talk, because people love to talk about themselves and their skill. And what you do is you just take that knowledge, right, that they're telling you, and you listen to it every single freaking day, right, every single day, and you dedicate 12 hours a week and say, okay, what do I need to do? And then draw yourself out a 90-day plan. I'm going to do X, Y, Z, whatever it is, help desk, whatever. Start with something new and just go in interviews as many possible. That's the hardest part, right? By the way, hardest part is
getting out of your shell.
Oh, you know what? Here's another system. Here's actually what I did, right? I worked at Amazon, right? I'm sorry, no, I worked at a factory, right? A different place, but I worked at a factory. Why did I work at a factory? This is a couple years ago. The reason I worked at a factory is because I had an IT job. It's because I needed more motivation. True story. I needed more motivation. So I worked at a low wage job, basically just a throwaway job. No offense, but throwaway job at a factory, because I needed to feel like that desire, right, to do better. I needed that hunger, right? And so maybe that's what some people need. Like that's what gets me about like people that are wealthy, right? Like let's say Gary Vee, whatever, let's say, how does he keep doing it? How does he keep motivated? And maybe for you to be out there, maybe you need to get, in my example, maybe you need to have a crappy job. So you're like, God, I hate this job, whatever. Let me get out of here, right? And to get motivated. Really, seriously, it's just nothing more than that, in my opinion.
That's how it is. It's just you got to do something. You got to do some other stuff. Like people get too comfortable, man. I don't know why. I mean, I get comfortable too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't get like that.
Well, it's easier. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to try. Right? You're using the same skills. I mean, I think I told you, Kev, at one point in my old job, it was so redundant that I walked over to the computer and fixed it in less than 30 seconds. I literally looked at it and was like, he's like, oh, it can't print? Okay. And I fixed it in like 30 seconds. I walked away.
We spoke about it. Like we spoke about like Gary, me and him, we spoke about it. We spoke about
the same thing.
Similar like, are you like learning anything, Kev? And he's like, no, are you? I'm like, not really. All right, it's time for me to, change jobs. Like I'm not gonna.
And we both got new jobs, and now
we both got new jobs. Yeah, we're learning things. Like it's just like, we had to do that because I was not learning anything. Like it's not good. It's like, and then I can't even touch cloud. Like what the hell is that all about? Now I could do that now. So it's just like, it just drives me crazy. Like, and then it becomes boring, it's just like so boring. It's like watching paint dry, it's just staring at the wall, and learning anything. And
right now I feel like a noob at my company. That's how.
Yeah, me too. So it's just, I like that feeling because then I'm always constantly learning something new. Like I had a ticket with Splunk. And I had to take care of that. And I'm like, oh, this is new. I've never done this before. And I had another ticket with Okta, right? And I had to publish an application on Okta. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is new. I've never done that before. And I had another, like my manager likes to teach me, right? Your manager's like, I'm gonna teach you how to do this on PowerShell. So like, Kev, you can make a video on it if you want. Come here, I'll show you. And he showed me the PowerShell command. He's like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know you could do that. So now I'm being forced to learn. Like I'd rather do that than be bored to death and I'm closing the same tickets over and over again. It's just like it becomes repetitive, and I like to see new things. It's just I like to explore a little bit.
It's the same thing with me with my job. I mean, I work by myself, so it's just me, and then I have my team, all other places. But I'm trying to incorporate PowerShell into my job to try and learn that a little bit more so I can do my job better. And then when we get on team calls, if people have any questions, stuff like that, and they can't solve it, then I try to use PowerShell to try to solve some of these answers that the guys give me. And then they ask me, well, how did you learn that so quick? Well, because PowerShell answered this question for me that you guys asked, and I answered it in like 10 seconds, which they were like, well, they got to call the customer, then they got to do this and they got to do that. I'm like, hold on 1 second. Here you go. here's all the information that you need. Like, wow, okay, that's neat. I'm like, yeah, it's PowerShell. It's not me, it's PowerShell. I mean, whoever that wrote PowerShell. I mean, I'm just following along here. But I'm just trying to learn this stuff a little bit better to do my job to give you guys a better overall experience. And so being alone is tough. I mean, I know you guys work with teams, all you other guys, which is good. I turn around in my chair and I'm like, oh, there's nobody there. So it's just me. So it's me and Mr. Google. So
yeah, in my last job, I worked by myself. So
Yeah.
it's just your solo, and I was working for the CEO, the CFO, all the C-level folks, and you gotta know how to talk to people because
Which
it's
is
like
hard
go by
sometimes, right, Kevin?
those
Because
skills.
you can't just spin the chair around and go, hey, Bob, there's no one there. Oh, okay, hold on one sec. I got to figure this out. So give me like some time here to figure this out, because, or you reached out to the other techs and there may not be experienced as, or may not be as wielding as what you want to be. And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, okay, well, you guys are worthless. All right, I'm gonna go to someone else, or just try to figure it out yourself. Because what we find too is a lot of techs they hire for these other sites. I don't know where they came from. Maybe Planet Mars. I'm not really sure. But I'm like, guys, I'm like, you're killing me here. Like, and that's when you just got to take it into your own hands and go that above and beyond and try to solve the issues. So.
And with me is like I don't like asking for help too, because I like to try to figure it out, right? That's just how I am. So then I'm like last week actually, I had an issue with SSCM Software Center. So Software Center wouldn't open up for some reason. I kept getting an error message like, Software Center was not configured correctly, unable to open, contact IT support for assistance. So I looked at it and I'm like, why is this not working? And then it kept doing that over and over again, right? So then I went online and just Googled the error message. I'm like, oh, okay. So I went and Googled the error message, and I'm like, oh, and then it took me like 6 pages, right? Because you're like clicking each one on Google to find the actual answer. And then someone's like, okay, you have to run this command on PowerShell, run as admin as PowerShell on the user's computer. Then you open it up, you run the command, and then you reopen Software Center and it should work after that, which I did. I did that and it worked. I'm like, oh, this worked. Awesome. Yeah. And then I was happy about it because I figured out how to fix it, right? Like, I started asking for help, right? I actually figured out something, and it makes you happy because you'd be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I will fix that problem. So
6 pages, huh, Kev?
yeah, 6 pages, man.
The other day I had a problem. Google wasn't going to help me.
Yeah.
It's a pain. That's a real pain. And nobody else really that I could ask about, like, hey, what's this problem? I feel you, Steven, sometimes, man. You kind of just have to figure it out, and Google won't help you. There's nobody to help you. It's kind of like, what's going on here? Why is it broken? It's a problem.
And the other one was a GitHub issue, right? And I don't do coding. I'm like, oh shit, they gave me this ticket for GitHub, and I'm looking at it, and thank God we have a DevOps team, right? So then I reach out to them, I'm like, do you know what that is? They're like, yeah, I'll tell you what it is. They have to run. So you have to run as admin on CMD, and then you have to allow the port on CMD, run as admin and allow it on the port on CMD, and it should work. So then I did that and it worked. So the software developer, all he needed was my admin credentials. That's it. Because they don't have admin rights over here. So I'm like, all right, so I'll go ahead and run it as admin and then let him do what he has to do. And we got it to work because he was trying to import a repository, and for some odd reason it wasn't working. And he has these other stuff that he works together with, like he runs Python with an app called FactSet. So in order for FactSet to work, you need to have Python installed, and you have to have some certain APIs installed and certain things installed. And I'm over here trying to figure it out, and I'm emailing the vendor, and we're trying to get it to work. We got it to work, but it's just like I have no idea what that thing is supposed to do. So I'm over here just staring at it and looking at it. The software developer is like, Kev, you could figure it out, right? I'm like, I guess I'll figure it out. And it's like doing things on the fly, but yeah, we got it to work though. It's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, they look at us. They're like, you should know the answers. I'm like, you gotta start looking and poking at trying different things, and eventually you get it.
Yeah.
Somehow you get it. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Maybe it's magic. Maybe we just know magic. I don't know. Somehow we figure it out.
Yeah, sometimes I have these weird issues I've never seen in my life before, and I had like a regular issue. I'll give you a real example. Actually, a guy had an Outlook issue where all his emails were going to the trash bin. So then you gets an email, it goes to the trash bin. Gets an email, goes to the trash bin, and then the first thing I did was I opened up webmail. You know how you have webmail, right? I went in webmail and I'm like, you know what? I think it's a rule. Let's go look at your rules. So I went in there and I looked at his rules. I'm like, what the hell is that rule? And it had like an XXXQQ, whatever. It had a bunch of symbols on it. I'm like, that rule looks like it's corrupted. Let's uncheck that rule. So we unchecked it. And then all his emails worked fine after that. I'm like, okay, so it's probably that rule. Do you remember creating that rule? He's like, yeah, I think I was creating it because we had a distribution list that the email was supposed to go to a specific folder, but I didn't do that for some reason. And I forgot to uncheck that rule. Oh, okay, so that's probably why all your emails went to the trash bin. That makes sense. Okay. So yeah, like sometimes you'll figure it out, you just gotta look at it and play around with it and just figure out what the actual issue is, So it happens sometimes.
But with something like that, though, guys, you see how Kevtech made that real simple. He didn't go a deep dive into it. He checked out the obvious first before going to that next level. So
Always
something to keep in mind too. Something as simple. We tend to look at a lot of things deep diving when it just is something really stupid and simple. It's like, oh, I just spent a half an hour tearing this whole thing apart and it's just that little box. Yeah. Or that rule. Yeah, that's it. That's all you got to do. And it's all fine. So just keep that in mind. When they say keep it simple, stupid, that's what they mean. Just look at the obvious stuff first. If it doesn't work, then you go to your deep dive next. Then you start your troubleshooting. Then you try to keep it simple, look for those simple things first. It's something that maybe the user just clicked and, oh, did you click it? No. Okay. Or you get that ticket in. And of course the notes don't always add up to what the help desk did, So I take a look at the ticket. I glance the notes because I don't really trust the notes. I just glance the notes going, I'm going to call the customer and get the real story. When you call the customer up and you talk to them on the phone and you can understand what they're saying, you get the real story of what is really going on with that ticket. And the notes may not even match up. I mean, I've seen that so much lately.
Oh, Steven, they put a ticket in the queue, right?
Yeah.
For IT support, and it says my computer is not working.
Oh yeah,
and then you log in and the computer is working.
Yeah.
And like, what the hell is the real issue? Oh, my Outlook's not working. Okay, so you put your computer's not working. I see everything else is working. What are you talking about? Oh no, it's Outlook. Outlook's having the issue. Okay, so all right, I guess this ticket is misleading then. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess
that's why it's always good to call the customer, talk to them to see what is going on. I mean, I had a guy who says my laptop wasn't powering up. I'm like, okay, did you try to unplug the power charger, plug it back in? Did you try to disconnect it and make sure it's good in the wall? Did you try plugging it in somewhere else? Yes. Talked to the guy a little while ago. He went back home to it. He plugged in and he says, oh, it's working. I'm like, okay, so you're saying that the laptop was powering up. He says, yes, but in the ticket, it says the laptop wasn't even powering on. And he's like, no, it's powering up. I'm like, well, you didn't say that in the ticket. I was thinking maybe there's something more involved with it. He goes, no. Now it's working. Okay. I don't know. So I just closed out the ticket. So always call up the customer, see what they're saying. And then you can critique those notes, take the notes for what they were. The help desk person maybe could have gotten them wrong from the user, or if the user put it in, it may say my computer's just stuck or it's not even powering on.
Yeah, like I had another ticket where the person sent me an email one time. It's my other job, right? They said my computer is not working, and I go over there and the computer is on. The monitor's just not on. So I went and I pressed the power button on the monitor. And it comes on and says, oh, it's working now. Kev, what'd you do? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. It makes you look like a champ, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to make them feel dumb either, right? It's like, don't worry about it. It's working now. It's just, that's happened to me.
Or you walk up to the monitor and the monitor's not on, and maybe the handshake just didn't come from the HDMI cable. You unplug it, plug it back in, bam, it just
Yep.
there it is. Okay, bye. That's it. That was it. Yeah. You
Yeah.
just unplugged it, plugged it back in. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
it fixed it, right?
Oh my gosh.
I'm not gonna look into it any more than that. It works, right? That's
Yeah.
what you asked me to do. You made it work. That's what I did. That's okay. I can click the ticket.
That was the other issue I had like a week ago, Steven, and they're like, my headset's not working, right? And I go to them and I go to the phone, and the phone has a Cisco call manager, and this is loading. It's like this
Okay.
on the desk phone, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, huh, that's weird. So I went, I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and the phone came up and it worked.
Yeah.
Like, there we go.
So the
the headset's
phone,
working
so
now.
the phone was not registering.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just unplugged it, plugged it back in, and it worked. There we go. Now it's working. Now we're good. Now you're back in business.
Sometimes those phones just get glitchy.
Yeah.
Like anything else in life. We all of us get glitches every once in a while. We gotta unplug, plug back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fixes ourselves.
Yeah. Just
Turn yourself
restart,
and turn
fixes
back
it.
on.
Reboot fixes everything, you know.
Sometimes you go take a nap, you're good.
Yeah.
Problem fixed.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll. So we have this thing called I just told Kev about it and Steve about it. We have this thing called the whiskey prize, right? So you get a bottle of whiskey for the most silliest dumb issue you get in the ticket queue, and that is a competition to see who has the dumbest ticket, right? And then based on that, you get a prize for that.
Oh, that's cool.
So I had someone they said one of the people that were on the computer, right? They had like an IT issue, right? And she said my printer is not working, and I went and the printer wasn't on. So I counted that as a prize. It was funny. And then someone else had an IT issue. They said they couldn't get on their computer, and he's remoting into his computer, right? And we asked him, like, he's like, I'm like, how do you get into your computer? He's like, oh, I remote in. He said, oh yeah, I turned my computer off in the office. So I'm over here like, wait, what? So yeah, I turned my computer off in the office. You know, I turned that off because I don't think I need that computer to be on to connect, right, Kev? It's remote in. And I'm just staring at him like,
mind-boggling sometimes, isn't it?
just like, what?
I mean, sometimes they don't understand how it works.
Yeah, like,
It makes
what?
sense.
Like, okay. Yeah, so let me go over there and turn your computer on real quick. And I go in and I turn the computer on, and I'm like, can you try to remote in again? So yeah, he remotes in and it works. So, oh, what'd you do? How'd you fix it? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Humor is always welcome there to
Yeah.
make them not say, oh yeah, this happens to me all the time. I do it all the time, right? That way they don't feel bad about it, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
'cause
like
you're gonna need them later on for something. Guarantee it's always
Yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah,
You're gonna need
so-
them for something later on.
Yep.
yeah. So I'm over here like just like shaking my head. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have a long week. Let me go get a cup of coffee. That's how you know you're having a long. That's how I know you're gonna have a long week when you have tickets like that.
Yeah.
That was another one, Steve. Like the computer wasn't on at all. I said, yeah. I honestly, like, you know, it's funny. This computer is always on. Like I thought you gotta shut it off. I don't think you need it on, right, Kev? I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the biggest things we ever dealt with the remote people remoted in from home was when I worked up at the actual insurance company, is that the people would shut it down. Their computers remotely shut them down. So I get a lot of calls the next day. Hey, you know, I tried to remote back into my computer and it shut down. Like, well, did you restart it or shut down? Oh, I shut it down. Oh, I don't know. I thought I restarted. Well, it's actually off. So you have to go over and just power it back on. But that's a lot of things people get kind of mystified about. I mean, the big thing I always told them, make sure you restart. Do not shut it down. Because if you
Yeah, we blocked that. So in group policy, we blocked shutdown for everyone. So they stopped doing that because people were doing that too in my job too. But during the whole pandemic thing, yeah, people were doing that. So we stopped.
You have to go in physically. For you, you gotta get on a bus. You gotta go all the way.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, man.
Seconds ago, and have them on a cell phone going, try it now. Okay, see you later. Bye. I gotta go all the way back home, an hour back home. just for a second work. Or, it's too bad that they don't implement, they can power up a computer over, what's that called?
No, you have Wake on LAN now. It's possible.
Wake on LAN.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of companies don't implement it.
Yeah, we had in my last job,
Yeah,
we had Wake on LAN in my last job with SolarWinds. So
Did
then
ya?
basically you just run a command, it turns the computer on right away,
Yeah.
and then you don't have to do it. You don't even have to go in the office.
I tried it in our company that they don't have it turned on.
Yeah, so we do have that option. But that's the other thing. And the other one was what was the other one? You just took it out of my head. I had a funny issue in my head. It was funny though, because I was helping somebody and their certain things weren't plugged in. It was just so funny. It was just like some tickets that we get, it's just like, it's just like makes you just die laughing, certain tickets. The issue I had with someone was they said that their computer wasn't working, right? They were at home because they're working from home, right? The computer wasn't working, and they told me, Kev, my computer's not working. And I asked them because they use internet, right, from their house, right, the ISP, right, service provider, and the service provider had an outage for the whole day. And I told them, like, did you get an email about an outage in your area? Yeah, I did, but I think my computer should still work after that. I should be able to remote in anyway. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You need to have internet if you're remoting in from your house to your PC in the office. And they're like, well, it's an outage, What provider do you use? Oh, I use Comcast. Oh, you? Yeah. Did you get that email on Comcast being down for the whole day? Well, yeah, I did. But, I just deleted it. I ignored it. It's just, I thought it was a spam email, I just ignored it. I'm like, okay. So are you going to come into the office? No, it's okay. I'll wait for my internet to come back. It's going to be down for the whole day, right? No, it's going to work. Don't worry. And then I'm like, okay, so are you able, or can you use hotspot? Oh, Kev, I don't know what that is. Okay, let me show you how to do that. Then we do hotspot, and then they're good after that. Oh, I didn't know there was an outage in my area. I'm like, that email was about the outage. You know that, right? Yeah, I know, Kev, but maybe it's a fake email.
Get out of work.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Get out of work free card.
Yeah. Yeah.
True story, right? True story. When I worked for the government, I sent an email on the high side, right? Which is the high side. You can figure out what the high side is, the red stuff. Anyway, the person who they called me and said, hey, we got this email from this person, right? Me, right? And I said it was for something, unlocking a system or something like that. Forget what it was. And they're like, oh, we just wanted to figure out if this is a real email or not. Like, dude, it's on a closed network. Right? Come on, logic, dude, dictates that. Yeah. Do you guys ever call the customer? No, the vendor. Like after 30 minutes, you can't figure out. You call the vendor. You guys ever do that stuff?
No, I do call vendors sometimes, and
all
sometimes
the time.
yeah, all the time I call vendors.
Yeah,
but
me
sometimes
too.
too, I work with clients that, because we have so many customers, right? We have so many people, right? So I call them and they think I'm not an IT person. And I call them and they're like, oh, so you're probably a cybersecurity training. You're probably trying to do social engineering. You're trying to get into my system. And I call them. I'm like, no, I'm trying to help you. Can I help you with this issue? I saw that ticket in the queue. I'm trying to help you, Like, no. You're not a real person. I need to verify who you are. So then I'm over here, I have to verify who I am. And, then after that I could fix their problem. Sometimes you have issues like that. So because the whole cybersecurity thing, right? So people like I call there was a guy, right? This is my last job, this is my previous job. Because we have 5 different companies that I work with, right? In the hedge fund. So I'm here helping this client. I call him, right? He picks up, he's like, I'm not falling for that. And he hangs up. Then I call him the second time. He picks up the phone. He's like, stop calling me. You're not a real tech. He hangs up again. Then the third time I call him, he's like, you need to stop calling me. I'm going to report you to the local authorities if you keep calling my number. So then I emailed my friend that knows him, and he emailed him. And he told him, oh, he's a real tech. And then he calls me back. And I pick up the phone and I'm like, yes, how can I help you? IT, you have IT issue. What's going on? Oh, I didn't know you were a real person. I thought you were a fake bot or something, or a fake scammer call or something. I'm like, no, I'm not a scamming call. I'm trying to help you with your IT issue. Because I was on call that week, right? And he called like in the middle of the night. And he needed help logging into his computer. And he had this weird issue with his VPN and everything. And he didn't want to answer the phone because he thought I was a fake call. I'm like, I'm not a fake call. I'm a real person. Just trying to help you with your issue. So sometimes you'll have issues like that with certain people. They think you're fake or something. I don't know. But it happens, you know. It happens sometimes with people. Yeah, it's just that's how it is. That's how it is. Now on a call for what, 2 hours now?
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Gary's still here.
Hanging
Well, I love talking about myself. So what can I say, right? And if you don't, nobody else is going to. You know, that's how I
That's
feel.
true.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Hey, Gary, when you were over in India, did you ever see a company called HCL?
Oh yeah, yeah. HCL is like, so what happens is a lot of the Indian workers, right, over there, like Bombay or Kerala or Bangalore. Usually Bangalore. There's a lot of IT people there. Bangalore is usually, anyway. They give them a visa, so like a work visa, to come to like Dallas or New Jersey, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, whatever. And they use that through the HCL. And every year, I think, like in August, I think. Hold on, April, I think. They have like a visa run. So each company has so many H-1B visas. So HCL is, you know, they got leeway or whatever. So they get a bunch of visas to come to America. But yeah, HCL is a big company. They're all over the world. They're, I think Tata is another one.
Yeah, it's a really big company.
Yeah, HCL is a big one. Reliance Telecom, that's a big one as well. But yeah, I know who they are. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the headquarters over there?
I have not.
Yeah.
I've not.
Because I actually work for them.
Oh, nice. That's a great company. Yeah, that's a great company. HCL is a great company.
I've seen the headquarters online, and it looks like it looks beautiful. That's why I thought maybe if you've seen it in person, what it's really like in person around there and around the area. Don't really know.
I haven't been to Bangalore. I have friends that are from Kerala, and they like, oh yeah, Bara, come here. Like I haven't been to Kerala. And anyway, I lived in Bombay, and so what did I see? I saw the entry. What is it called? The Taj Mahal Hotel, the entry gateway to India, whatever. The one thing I will tell about India, right, is this: their books, like their CCNA books and all that stuff, they're more like our books are theory. Like here's how you do it, and like, or here's like a theory drawn out, boring talk, whatever, right? Blah blah. Death of a PowerPoint. In India, what I found, the books, their books are very like step 1, log into router. You know, step 2, config, whatever, config T, whatever, enter, right? Step 3, you know, router rip, whatever, right? All those things. That's very specific. They teach them that way in their IT. Like, forget about that nonsense, that technical, the verbiage. Here's the theory, or here's how you do it. Theory, whatever. And that's one thing I can say about India. That's a good thing, how they teach people over there.
Oh, that's good.
Kind of makes sense. I'm talking to the guys over there all the time. Yeah, the way that they talk, and their big thing is, please do the needful. They love that thing. My God, please do the needful. Every email, please do the needful. Please do the needful. I mean, that just means probably means in English for us, get it the hell done now. But over there, they say, you know, kindly, please do the needful. It's like, okay.
Somebody saying, so Tiffany said, how do you all meet? How did you all meet? I'm like, Gary, just randomly show up here.
So just to hit India again, right? If you ever go to a convenience store and there are Indian people that work there, own it, whatever. If you do your pinky, right? Stick out your pinky to them. Let's say it's a place you know that you probably can't use the bathroom, right? Whatever. Like, you know, some place, gas station where they can't use the bathroom. Maybe they're not open restaurants, whatever. So you do your pinky like this. That means they're telling them, hey, where's the bathroom, right? It's almost like a connection to their culture, basically, right? Where's the bathroom? And like they laugh or whatever. Oh, how'd you know that? You know, I know it for whatever reason. And then you go in and, you know, use it to your advantage, right?
Try
Basically.
that next time because we have a couple of Indian guys that actually work where I work. So I have to do that. Yeah, I'll do that. And if I get slapped, I'm gonna say, wait, Gary McNeely. Oh yeah, I should do the pinky. Yeah. What is that?
There's two types of Indian, right? You ask them like, where are you from? If they say they're from Kerala, because Kerala is the one. A lot of Keralites are like the IT people, right? They're the ones that go overseas, are the ones that are technical, whatever, right? But they'll either tell you they're from India or Kerala. So Kerala and Kerala is like these very much like how do I say? Texas. It's like equivalent of Texas, right? Like where are you from? Texas. And they say, where are you from? America. It's Kerala is like the equivalent of Texas, basically.
Let me tell you though, those guys are smart. Men and women, they are smart freaking cookies over there. They know their tech.
Yep.
They must be right out of the damn womb. They are just giving a freaking book. Here, learn it. This is the first words you're gonna learn is IP config, IP. You know, you're just gonna know it. I mean, they are smart. And it's like, damn, guy. Like, how do you guys like what he goes, we all taught this from video to age. And it's just like the way it is. I'm like, okay. Like, I mean, you guys are smart, man. I'm going after you guys because you guys know a lot more than what I do. And it's amazing what they know, but they teach it over there because they said they almost forced to learn it.
Yeah.
They're actually forced to learn it.
I'm from India, and I agree with the pinky finger. Where's the bathroom? Someone just wrote in chat. I agree with that. It's a real thing, apparently.
And his last name is Patel, right? I dollars and donuts. That guy,
Everybody's Patel.
He's I bet you dollars and donuts. His family's from Gujarat because a lot of Patels are from Gujarat.
Yeah, and they all have everybody has the same name over there.
Well, it's their name based on where they live, right?
Yeah, I go on teams and it's like, who do I pick? There's like 5 guys in the darn same. They're like, just pick one of them.
Their name will tell you their religion. Their name will tell you their religion. If you ever see an Indian with like a mustache, like a thick mustache, most likely they're from Kerala. Most likely, because a lot of Keralites have mustaches. Again, this is just something, you have a general conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, are you from Kerala? Oh yeah, tell me about Kerala. Tell me about the boats, the what is it, the apartment or the hotel on water. Or tell me about the fish you eat. Tell me about what's Kerala like, or they wear these like they're like pants or something, I think. So, but it's like a towel, right? But it's not. It's like Hawaiian people wear it, something like that. Something like that.
Got it.
Interesting.
All right, I'm gonna call it a day because I'm gonna be on later. So, you guys have anything you want to say? We wrap it up.
No, just thanks for bringing us on. As always, it's always a fun time. Always great to teach and to spread knowledge forward, right?
Oh, I'm glad Gary showed up. I didn't think you would show up.
I'm grateful that you invited me, Kevin. I really am. Seriously.
We always have like a guest every week. It seems like now we have a guest. Last week
I
was
was like that.
Brandon last week. Now we have
and I'll have Gary. It's funny.
The guest seat.
Yeah, I put the Zoom invite in chat, like anyone that wanted to join, and you showed up. Like, don't be afraid to talk to people. Like, I'm not gonna come in here and bite your head off. We don't do that. IT people don't do that. Like, yeah, talk to people and engage with people, and like we did last week. Like, if you're on LinkedIn, like add us on LinkedIn, add us, and just go on LinkedIn and add people on LinkedIn if you have to. So
I put the link to the Discord as well so that people can join.
Yeah. And Brian is like, damn, I've been demoted to guest. Usual last week. Oh my god. It's gonna be recorded, so you should be good. I'm gonna get at it because we've been here for over 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes actually. It's good.
Yeah, it'll be here on YouTube. I put the Discord link there. Join the Discord as well. We're always in there talking similar conversations.
We're always talking conversation. Yep. So I'll see you guys later. I'm on Discord, by the way, and today I'm doing Active Directory training at 6 p.m. EST time on Discord. So you'll probably see me in Discord, and I'll probably go on Zoom again, but we're doing like Active Directory training for free. So come by on Discord. All right. Talk to you guys later. Anyone wants to say anything? Steve, Gary, Kev?
No, maybe I'll see you later on at 6 o'clock. I always learn something from you.
Yeah, we're gonna do some training. And I'm gonna do some PowerShell with Active Directory a little bit. So I'll talk to you guys later. All right.
All right, everyone.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care.
Straight.